All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of The Market Close. We have got a ton to discuss on today's show. We have had a bunch of updates since the market opened that we will be getting into. And Oracle, really big company, important in the overall AI data center space ecosystem of artificial intelligence. We will be talking about that stock as well because they have earnings today. So at about 4:10, I think their numbers come out. We will get what Oracle has to say, and we will keep going from there. Today has been a quite incredible day for a variety of reasons. Market's not really dumping, but it's definitely not where it was at the beginning of the day. We did have Palantir at $139.22. Kind of started to relax a little bit. 136.26, still up on the day. I mean, at 134 when it opened and we jumped to 136. We'd be pretty happy if we closed at 136. We did get to 139, but now it's back down, still up 2.7% of the day. Tessie took a little bit of a dump, 325. It was at 335 in the morning. Robinhood tried to get to 75. It was at 75.40. Now it's 74.73. Likely we will close above 74 on the day. Oh, wow. SoFi. I actually did not look at stocks for like the past 30 minutes. I was just getting some work done. There you go. SoFi 15.14. I did not see that. Congratulations. SoFi breaking through, up 5% on the day. It got to 14.98 on the market open, and it seemed likely it would break through. It just wasn't able to do it in the morning. There you go. When did we get to 15? Was it just recently? We got to 15, 3 p.m. Oh, so yeah, it's been about 40 minutes. Okay, so it's been about 40 minutes. We got to $15, 15.14 right now. Let me check resistance on 16 real quick on SoFi. Those SoFi options are up 12%. If anyone has leaps or contracts on SoFi, I'm sure those are doing pretty well. In terms of resistance, let's take a look at it. SoFi 15.13 right here. $16 resistance on SoFi is 133,000 shares. 133,000 shares. Not too bad for SoFi. Grab right here, 472. We have some new updates on Grab that we'll talk about in a bit. Google right here, 177. This is down on the day. Amazon is down on the day. Meta down on the day. Salesforce down on the day. Pretty much all the big tech stocks took a little bit of a hit. Even Nvidia, which was at 145.50 in the pre-markets, 142.83 down on the day. So why are we down? It's actually really simple, quite frankly. I don't know if this is the exact reason, but it's a rather simple reason. And we kind of got a hint of this during the market open. Besant basically said, hey, like, we're not really done with the China negotiation. So what did Besant say? He said, we have not actually written up the text of the bill. Xi Jinping has to agree to it. Trump tweeted out this morning that, you know, in theory that they've agreed to a deal. And then Besant also further said, hey, the trade negotiation will take a much longer process. It's not just going to happen based on this London conference and the Geneva conference. This is just like step 2 of a multi-step process in order to get done. And I think the street kind of looked at that and they were like, all right, so you guys really didn't give us any clarity on what you guys are doing here. Lutnick was on CNBC. We watched that with Chris this morning, and Lutnick also basically said nothing. I mean, he didn't say anything too exciting. So I think the broader market, there wasn't any big piece of macro news. The big news this morning was CPI, which was incredible. And it looks like, you know, Jay Powell inevitably is going to be able to cut these rates based on the momentum that we're seeing beating across the board. But that wasn't enough to pump the markets. China deal that Trump tweeted was not enough to pump the markets because we just didn't get details. We also didn't get any clarity on NVIDIA if they're included in terms of the chip sales within the Chinese negotiations. So we really got nothing today outside of like, hey, relationships are progressing. It's going well. And like, we'll probably get to a deal soon. That could mean 2 weeks from now, 2 months from now, more likely 2 months from now. And the markets, I think, pumped in the morning off the idea of it, but now they're kind of just flat. And so that's it. So relatively flat across the entire board. Again, some stocks had a really good day, but the broader market's not getting ready to give us that pump yet until they get some real clarity on China. Now, this June rate cut is not going to happen in 10 days, even with CPI, S&P 500 right there, down about 0.3% of the day, because, you know, we're not going to get Jay Powell to change his mind on June 18th, but it is setting up the framework for inflation to significantly start coming down in the summer. And then hopefully in September, we're able to get Jay Powell to get us that cut. So not too bad at all. Okay, so why did oil stocks boom? So that is a good question. So there is an explanation for that. Let me pull that up right here. That also could be part of the reason why we had a little bit of a dump intraday. Also, Besant said 2 things. He said if the debt limit is not sorted, he's testifying on Congress right now, it could be the biggest crisis since 2008, 2009. The U.S. debt ceiling must be raised and extended. Obviously, Besant, you know, the administration wants the debt ceiling to be raised. Every administration does. And so Besant's kind of painting a pretty nasty picture of what would happen without it. But that is also something that I think the market was looking at to kind of interpret how they should be thinking of the equity markets. Now, the reason oil could be popping today is because of this headline. U.S. military dependents in Bahrain are told to depart due to heightened regional tension. That, along with what's going on with Iran, you put those two together, it starts to get you to think, all right, maybe oil is going to have a little bit more weakness. Oil prices right here, yeah, up 4% on the day. There you go. WTI crude up 4%, Brent's up 3.8%, and then Murban crude up 3.9% on the day. Ironically, energy was one of the only sectors that came down in CPI. And so if we continue to have energy prices go up, that could be not the best situation for the May CPI or for the June CPI that we get in July. But that is one of the reasons why it's up. Also, something's going on. Yes, I believe in the Iran embassy, they are scheduling an evacuation. That came out, 52 minutes ago. U.S. preparing to partially evacuate Iran embassy based on the security risk. That's what we talked about in the context of Bahrain. And the United States is preparing a partial evacuation of its Iraqi embassy and will allow military dependents to leave locations around the Middle East due to heightened security risks in the region. The 4 U.S. and 2 Iraqi sources did not specify which security risks had prompted the decision, and reports of the potential evacuation pushed oil prices up by more than 4%. It doesn't feel like this is going to be the big, Iraq. I was saying Iran, Iraq, the Iraqi embassy. Now, it doesn't seem like this is going to be a heightened reason for why this continues to push oil up, because we know what the Saudis said 2 weeks ago. They are ready to pump. They are ready to pump as much oil as possible from OPEC's perspective. So they want to continue to decrease or increase supply to be able to decrease prices for their own strategic initiatives. But nonetheless, we got oil prices that are green currently right now. S&P 500 right here, 601, down about 0.35%. I mean, if that's the reason we went down on the day, then I'll take that reason. Usually that reason, anything related to oil, geopolitics, tends to be smooth over as long as it doesn't heighten in any meaningful way. And, we'll find out over the coming days if that's the case. NVIDIA right here, 142.87, Tesla 326, Robin at 74, and then Palantir 136. Okay, so real quick on Tesla, we did get a piece of breaking news at around 12 p.m. Eastern today on how this Elon apology went down. So the report is that President Trump received a phone call from Elon Musk late on Monday night, which led to a public expression of regret from the billionaire early Wednesday for the attacks that he had lodged against the president and their extraordinary public showdown last week. Mr. Musk's outreach to Mr. Trump came after the tech entrepreneur spoke privately on Friday. Again, Thursday is when he lashed out. So Friday, he's speaking privately with J.D. Vance and the White House Chief of Staff, Susie Wiles, about a path to truce between the two men, according to two of the people. The people spoke on the condition of anonymity to describe the private discussions. The conversations paved the way for the strikingly chastened tone Mr. Musk struck in an X post early on Wednesday, 3 a.m. last night, where he said, "I regret some of my posts about Trump. They went too far." So Tesla not really pumping off that. It was pumping in the morning, now kind of chilling out, 326 on the day, but it is up from 270. Looks like before Elon sent out that tweet, he talked to Besant and or not Besant. That's the last person he would want to talk to. He talked to Vance and then eventually talked to Trump, and that's when he put out that post. Also, Trump said today that he is open to reconciliation. He said he's open to a phone call. So Trump kind of basically accepted the apology without literally saying, "I accept the apology." And it looks like, maybe trouble in paradise is not going to be as aggressive as we thought it was going to be for the bromance that is Elon and President Trump. Palantir right here, 136.20. Okay, so why did Palantir pump on the day? I don't really have a reason for you outside of this, and this is kind of my best explanation. Palantir invited the New York Times editorial board to speak to their leadership team about privacy and civil liberty protections that are embedded in the foundation of their software. The NYT responded by saying, yes, they would welcome the opportunity to learn more about Palantir's software and to interview their leadership team. So based on this, I mean, I don't know if this is the best reason. It really just could be more macro oriented, or maybe just people are getting excited about Palantir for whatever reason. Maybe they're getting rid of some stocks and they're transitioning into Palantir. But I think one reasonable point of analysis here is that, hey, if the New York Times finds out that Palantir is not surveilling all your data and doing this horrible stuff they accuse them of, then they could do an unequivocal retraction of the claims that they made, which is not going to stop people from thinking that Palantir is an evil company, but at least it would add some legitimacy to what Palantir's argument is about, hey, we're not like spying on people. And that maybe could be a reason why the stock pumps. Now, granted, the stock didn't really drop that dramatically from the New York Times article. I think max pain was like 127 or something. So it's not like the Times article had that big of an impact. But on their brand positioning, again, I'm seeing videos every single day by random YouTube channels, like channels I've never have seen before, pop up talking about Palantir being an evil company. And that's obviously not good for the long-term brand positioning. And so that maybe is the reason why Palantir right here got to 139 on the day. It pumped because buyers went the opposite of New York Times. Yeah, I mean, when they originally put out that article back on Friday of last week, buyers went or 2 weeks ago, buyers went the opposite direction. And it kind of looks like it's happening here as well. SoFi, I think we're going to get the $15 close, folks, up about 4.7% of the day. We got 4 minutes until the market closed. Then we got Oracle. That's going to be a big one. And we will see what Oracle does. HIMS, it was up 3% at one point. HIMS is still up 3.8%. There you go, 4%, 57.38 on HIMS. ASTS, again, we will have that stream tonight with Chris at 9 p.m. ASTS 36.56. Rocket Lab did have their successful mission launch that we watched the market open, 27.40. That one's up about 1% of the day, so great day for Rocket Lab. MicroStrategy right here, 387. That's down 1%. By the way, folks, Jim Chanos, notorious short seller, has a new short. Does anyone want to guess what it is? He has a new short, and I don't know if I think it's the greatest idea, but I can understand why. But I don't think it's going to be, I don't know if it's as lucrative as a short as he thinks it is. SoFi right here, 1509, grab 472. We'll talk about grab in a bit as well. Oracle, after the bell, we have 176.67 right here. These were Oracle metrics last time. So really, really good numbers that, the street obviously cared about. The stock was at 122 during the April lows. It's now at 176. The street on Oracle is expecting 164 of EPS and 15.59 billion of revenue. If they can top that, that would be very good for Oracle. The answer is indeed Carvana. He's not shorting AK Media. AK Media shows up on time, bro. You can't short AK Media. We show up on time every day. He's shorting Carvana. And people have tried to short Carvana anymore. By the way, Carvana, for those that don't know, it is the best performing stock since 2022. It is up 100x. This is a big, big name that has made a lot of people rich, and he just doesn't believe in it. We can watch him talk about it in a little bit. Carvana right here, 339, actually up on the day. I don't know. I don't know if this is the right move to do. Oh, by the way, Jensen, remember we talked about him being a little bit more bullish on quantum this morning. Here's what he said in the morning. We can get to play this, but here's what he said about quantum at GTC Paris.
There's an inflection point happening in quantum computing. The number of logical qubits are starting to grow. Well, just like Moore's Law would, I could totally expect 10 times more logical qubits every 5 years, 100 times more logical qubits every 10 years. Those logical qubits would become better error corrected, more robust, higher performance, more resilient, and of course, will continue to be scalable.
So there you go. Online used car retailer Carvana is being short by Jim Chanos, and the quantum stocks that were shorted by Martin Shkreli are being endorsed. Not literally being endorsed by Jensen, but the idea of quantum that Shkreli has said unequivocally doesn't have anything useful is being endorsed to an extent by Mr. Jensen Huang. So, I guess we're going to see over the long term kind of how this plays out. But overall, you do have two opposite sides of the short spectrum, Shkreli with quantum and Chanos with Carvana. And over the coming months, we are going to see how those shorts ultimately play out. All right, here we go, folks. We got 20 seconds until the market closes. SoFi, let's see. All eyes on SoFi. Let's see if we can get that $15 close. And then we have Oracle earnings after the bell. And we'll see how that one does. SoFi right here. Folks, we have gotten the $15 close. The market is now closed. There you go. Markets are closed, and SoFi gets $15. Folks, this is the first time SoFi gets a $15 close since February 11th. Wow. It has been a good 4 months until we got that SoFi $15 close, but there it is. If you bought the dip on SoFi at all in the month of April, May, even over the past couple of weeks at $13, congrats. SoFi right here, $15, up 4.5% of the day. Robinhood closes at 74.78. That's up about 3% of the day. Tesla up about basically nothing. It's up 8 cents, 326 on the day, relatively flat. Nvidia down on the day, 1% along with the Max Evans. Palantir does get a new all-time high in terms of a closing price, even though we did hit 139.75 in the morning, 136.15 right now in Palantir. PayPal right here, 74.57. Again, SoFi 15.05. Grab 4.73. Google 1.77. That one also fell with the rest of the Max 7. Amazon was at 2.20, almost 2.19. That came down to 2.13 on the day. Elf right here up 5%. Nice for Elf. Pinterest right here, 34.75. Enphase 45.20. Microsoft 4.72. And then Palo Alto Networks 1.94. I believe we are going to get Oracle earnings very soon. Also, Oklo. I forgot to mention that one. Oklo, what a day. What a freaking day. $10 billion company. They don't even have a working product. but the street does not care. And this is why AI companies are getting their multiples, because if you believe in the thesis of AI, you have to believe that there's going to need to be energy to supply all that AI. And the market's ready to give Oklo a $10 billion market valuation simply because they think the demand's going to be so strong. To Oklo's credit, they did get a DoD contract today. And that's enough to get it some momentum. 29% on the day for Oklo. Congrats to anyone who owns that stock. Oracle, all right, we are waiting for earnings. We should be getting them very soon. And we will see what Oracle has. Let me do a quick pump or dump in the chat. Also, who owns Oracle? Let me know. I feel like this stock goes under the radar, but it still is a pretty important stock in the broader AI space. Pump or dump on Oracle. There it is in the chat. Let's see what you guys have to say. I do think Steve will be joining today's show. He said in the morning he would join at around 4:30. I will confirm with him, but if he's on, we will get his reaction as well to Oracle and get some thoughts on the broader markets from him. Oh, wow. A bunch of you guys own Oracle. Jasmine owns it. Dennis owns it. Doug says I own Palantir. That's enough Oracle to me. Palantir does have a really good partnership with Oracle. So that is a little bit of exposure there. The street, again, wants 164 and 15.59 billion in revenue from Oracle. That's what we are looking for today. 176 right here after hours. I think maybe at 4:05 we get the official numbers, and then we'll see what we get on Oracle. Yeah, a bunch of you guys, dude. A bunch of you guys on Oracle. Well, we'll talk about Grab or after Oracle earnings, because we actually did get this. So the CFO posted on LinkedIn, and I mean, dude, well, we'll go through the post, but they are raising this money from a position of strength. I'll just give you a little teaser right here. The round was oversubscribed by multiples more than what they thought they were going to be able to raise, because investors just were begging them to take their free money at a 0% coupon. And that's why they upped it from 1.25 billion to 1.5. So I think they're raising the money from a very strong position of strength. And we'll talk more about what the CFO posted today, confirming that the convertible note offering has been completed. Oracle right here, 176.52 after hours. Let's see. We should be getting numbers very soon. And then we'll see what happens. Oh, thoughts on AIRO. So I upped my IPO allocation. I asked for 250 shares on Robinhood. So if you're on Robinhood, AIRO, there's a headline that is making me a little bit more bullish for what's going to happen to this IPO. By the way, Voyager, and we'll talk about that. Voyager was up, oh, wow, it ended down. It was up like 80% on the day at some point. Voyager, hold on. Voyager, this stock was, yeah, Weeble's showing it wrong. It was up 85% on the day. They IPO'd at 25. It closed at 57. I don't know why Weeble's saying it's down 16%. It is up 85% on the day. So Weeble's showing the wrong thing. So Voyager, amazing IPO, very successful. IPO at 31. 31 was the IPO price, closed at 57. So again, IPOs in the thematic of a niche that the market cares about are getting some momentum. I went through a little bit of AIRO's S1, and I liked what I saw, and I'll share some thoughts with you guys. But overall, I think they could get some momentum, if the broader drone defense technology niche gets a little bit of a bid. All right, Oracle, we're moving. We are moving. That's a green candle. That candle is green. There you go, up 3%. Let's see if it can hold on. 3% on Oracle. 3% is not much. 3% easily can get reversed. Pump or dump, 64% of you say pump. If we dump, that number better not go to 64% of you saying dump, because somehow magically after we get the results, the poll switches every time. It's not really that strong of a candle. It's not that encouraging. 2%. We got to see some real numbers here before we can say this is going to be a big win. Now, again, Oracle's up from 120. So I mean, one could argue that it's made its move already. And so even if the numbers are really good, that doesn't have to take it higher. But maybe the numbers are strong enough to keep going. Oh, now it's down. Isn't earnings season so fun, dude? I think this has happened more times than not in Q1, where the stock pumps up initially and then it goes down. And now it's making a little bit of a comeback. This is what freaking Robinhood did. Dude, I was rewatching the Robinhood S&P 500 thing, and we fell, and I was like, oh man, we didn't make it. And then it just within 5 seconds made the comeback. Literally, dude, my heart was beating so hard at the airport. I'm like, oh my goodness, do we have a chance? And then the S&P 500 was like, yeah, we're not accepting anybody. So it is what it is. 1.4% down on Oracle. Oklo announces $400 million public offering. Okay, that's a smart thing to do. If I was the Oklo CEO, I would definitely do it. Oklo down 8%. I mean, look, dude, If you bought it at 68, you're probably upset. If you bought it at even 50 2 days ago or 2 weeks ago, you can't be that mad that it's dumping right here. The company should be raising money. I mean, if you're going to give them a $10 billion valuation, absolutely they should be diluting and taking advantage of that capital. So Oklo right here down about 7% on that convertible offering, but that's also not super surprising. Oracle right here down 4%. Wow, 182 to 170. What a swing. What a swing. The market didn't care. The market didn't care. Okay, so what are the earnings? What are the earnings? I don't even have the numbers yet. Earnings, let me see. Do I have them? No, I don't. Do I? I should get them in a second. Oracle numbers. Let's see. I got him. All right. We beat by 4% on EPS. Here we go. 170 versus 164. EPS is up 4% year over year. Revenue beat by 2%, 15.9 versus 15.5. Revenue is up 11% year over year. EPS is up 16% quarter over quarter. Revenue is up about 13% quarter over quarter. These are not big beats. These are beats on the top and the bottom. We have to see guidance, and I will go to their website in a second to get that guidance, but stock's relatively flat. It was down almost 5%. Now it's barely down 1%. This is one of those stocks that looks like it's not making a move as aggressively right here. Archer was up 7% today. Also, Micron, great day. Great freaking day for Micron, dude. The announcement was that NVIDIA chose them as one of the core suppliers for memory this morning ahead of Samsung. So Micron right here up 1.6% on the day. Incredible. Oklo down about 6%. Voyager, again, was up about 80% on the day. Carvana right here up about 0.5%. Oracle goes green. Goes green. Adobe is tomorrow. Adobe's tomorrow. Adobe's not today. Adobe is tomorrow. We'll get more Oracle coverage in a second, but Adobe is tomorrow, and we'll see what happens. Wow, she's really fighting. Look at that, dude. Look at that. All right, let me go to their website. Let's go to their website. Let's see if we can get guidance for fiscal year 2026 and see what we got. Earnings release, is this it? Is this it? No, this is March. I need to get the new one. It might not be posted on their website yet. Financials, latest quarter. Yeah, it's not on the website yet. Okay, it's not out yet. Wait, is it? Is it earnings release? Yes, no, not on the website yet. All right, so we need a second. Not on the website yet. Oracle, yeah, it's pumping. It's pumping 2%. Expects cloud growth to top 40% versus 24. Holy crap. That's big. That's big. I don't have the exact numbers yet, so let me see if I can get some of the details of their guidance. That's a big one, folks. Cloud growth 40% versus 25% expected. Trump, by the way, signed an executive order on drones, flying cars, and supersonics. That was also one of the headlines I was going to say about AIRO, the new IPO coming out on Friday. Trump just signed an executive order on drones, and this is a drone company. So drones might be having a moment right here, and that could be very good for the thematic of defense technology in general, which could be good for that stock. Look at Oracle go, bro. 3.5%, 183. 183 on Oracle. There she goes. What? Dude, the emotions, the freaking emotions, up then all the way down, now making a comeback. Let's see if I can get some better metrics right here for guidance. It's growing. It is absolutely growing. Again, 170 versus 164 on EPS. Okay, fiscal year 2026 revenue growth accelerating sharply. Expects total cloud revenue growth to 40% versus 24%. They expect cloud services and license support revenue up 14% to $11.75 billion. The real big number right there is cloud growth, which makes sense because Azure grew at 35% last quarter. So Oracle should be getting this type of growth if the entire industry is showing this growth. 40% versus 24% the year before. Oracle right here now up almost 5% on the day. It looks like that guidance number is doing it. GameStop is down 7% after hours. I don't know why GameStop's down. I will try to find out. Did they raise more cash? Something's happening with GameStop. They announced $1.75 billion of convertible senior notes. Okay, this is getting a little interesting that every company wants to raise money right here. Now, the thing about GameStop is they have so much cash. Look, like when you're raising cash and you have a plan with it, I think that's a good idea. GameStop has done this to the tune of $5 billion already, and they haven't done anything with the money outside of buy Bitcoin at 110,000. So, I mean, I guess they're raising more money to buy more Bitcoin. So it is what it is. But, you know, outside of if they're going to become a Bitcoin treasury, then I guess that's what you're investing in. But it seems like the core business of GameStop, they're not necessarily turning that around. Oracle, 5.5%, folks, really getting some momentum right here on the day. Oracle getting some love. Let's see if I can get some more coverage right here on Oracle. Yep, there it goes. Here is some of the earnings coverage on Oracle. Again, fiscal year 2026 guidance at 40% versus 24%. That's a 16% increase year over year in their top line revenue estimates. And that is what is helping the stock currently right now. Here is this coverage on Oracle up almost 6% on the day.
Margins for the quarter at 44%. There was a very bullish comment. They don't provide guidance, but they did say in their release that fiscal 2025 was a very good year. But, and this is according to the CEO, we believe fiscal 2026 will be even better as our revenue growth rates will be dramatically higher. And then they go into the categories. They say that their total growth rate for cloud will increase from 24% in 2025 to about 40% in 2026. One number that stood out is the RPO, which is the remaining performance obligations. That is pretty much, backlog for contracts that have yet to be recognized. They believe that will grow 100% in.
Holy crap, dude. For some context, RPO growth last quarter was 50%. If they're saying that's going to grow 100%, again, even if you don't own Oracle, this is only happening because of AI. It means more AI workloads on the cloud, more demand for Oracle. That is absolutely insane if RPO is growing 100% and very bullish for the broader economy and the broader AI trade and the broader AI sector as well.
Fiscal 2026, adding possibly to that uptick in the stock because it is backlog and they're actually able to turn that into revenue. Guys?
All right. Shares now are up 5.5%, almost 6%. Christina Parts-Neville.
Dude, that is a big one. I'm trying to get the actual metrics from their website and go deeper into this. That is not something that you just ignore. Oracle right here. Yeah, dude, this thing absolutely did not deserve to be down almost 5% on that type of a number. RPO's remaining performance obligations. So essentially the backlog of how much money that they expect to generate. And SaaS companies usually disclose this because they want investors to know, hey, our revenue is very sticky. We have all these contracts down the pipeline. And so we expect to recognize this revenue based on performance obligations. Obviously, we have to deliver the product effectively in order to count that revenue. But if that's growing at 100%, dude, that is that's pretty freaking incredible. They don't have it on their website yet, so I don't have the actual specifics. I should be getting it very soon. Once that's out, we can go a little bit more deeper on Oracle. NVIDIA after hours. Let's see how that one's reacting. That is up about 0.25%, which is very nice for NVIDIA. Oracle again up 5.3%. Again, Voyager was up about 100 or 85% of the day. Micron flat after hours. GameStop again, they're going to keep raising money, but I guess that money's to buy more Bitcoin. That one's down 6%. S&P 500 0.01 flat after hours. Navitas was down 2% on the day. D-Wave was down 2%. They also did a convertible note raise. Grabs up a little bit after hours. Tessie right here 327. Robinhood up 3% of the day. We did have the Robinhood May metrics. All of them were at all-time highs in margins, equities, options, and assets under custody. So Robinhood had some really good metrics today as well. And the fact that Robinhood's holding from 70 to 75 means that last week's move from like 60 to 70 was not because of S&P inclusion speculation, or at least maybe that was the initial reason. People are staying for the business because people should have dumped it by now, at least back to like 68, 67, in my opinion, if it was purely based on just S&P. It seems like that is not the case. Chime IPO is tomorrow as well. We'll talk about Chime. There was a good post on Chime this morning that makes me think SoFi is ridiculously undervalued if Chime is going for the valuation they're going for. And if Chime somehow has a successful IPO at the valuation they want and SoFi stays stuck at this range, there's a real big issue because it's just there's no reason why Chime should be getting this type of valuation. So we'll look at that in a second. NVIDIA right here up a little bit after hours, and then Oracle, we are still up almost 6%. Still up almost 6%. Amit, are you buying Oracle? No, I don't know enough about the company to buy them. I think Steve has them, if I'm not wrong. I just care about them as part of the overall AI ecosystem, but I'm not buying the stock right here. GameStop again, 1.75 billion. We don't have the coupon rate on this convertible note. If it's 0%, then they're pulling oh yeah, it's 0%. It's a MicroStrategy, folks. They're pulling an MSTR right here. They're pulling an MSTR. Oracle, wow, really getting some love, dude. 187. It's trying to get to 7% right here after hours. That one keeps moving. NVIDIA is probably pumped because of Oracle. NVIDIA up about 0.34%. Oklo again down 6%. Oracle up 6.5 right here after hours. Yes, I am buying the Arrow IPO. It is pure speculation. I don't know a ton about the company. I read through their S1 a little bit today. I am buying it purely off the idea of two things. IPOs have done very well. Circle and Voyager are examples of that today. And number two, Anduril just raised $2.5 billion. Anduril doesn't only do drones, but they do a lot of stuff in defense tech. Arrow, from my understanding, again, based on like 30 minutes of research today, seems to be one of the premier companies in the autonomous drone space. I think the market from that thematic might give them some love. And you know, if it pumps heavy, I'll probably sell it as soon as it pumps. So it really just is a speculative bet. It's not anything around investing. Wow, Oracle 7.5. My goodness, she's not stopping. Oh, this is moving, folks. This one's moving. Palantir. Is Palantir moving after hours with it? Palantir. Again, Palantir does work with Oracle. Palantir, yup, up a little bit after hours, 0.17%. NVIDIA up 0.5%. I would say it has to be because of Oracle. And Oracle right here up 7.8%. Dude, fiscal year 2026 cloud revenue growth at 40% versus 24% this year. That is growth. This is already a $500 billion company. When you put up those types of growth numbers at 40%, the street gets very excited. 8% now on Oracle. And then when your RPO is growing at 100%, 190 right here on Oracle, it's just hard for the street to deny that. Very, very hard for the street to deny that. Microsoft after hours probably should be moving as well. Microsoft up about 30%. Yep. Microsoft is moving as well. I'm trying to get the official financials on their website. They still have not put it out yet because then we'll get a lot more details on what they put out. Let me see if I can get it from somewhere else. Yeah, I mean, dude, those stats alone are enough. Those are big, big stats. Those are big stats. Okay, I have some. Okay, here we go. I got it. Here we go. All right, let's take a look at this. 7.5% right here on Oracle. So congrats if you have this one. What's the pump or dump say? Let me see. Are we still at 60-40? We are at, 60-40. 64-36 on Oracle. All right, here we go. Q4 remaining performance obligations up 41% to $138 billion. Their fiscal year is up at around 100%. Q4 GAAP earnings 119. Q4 total revenues $15.9 billion. That is up 11%. Cloud revenue $6.7 billion. That's up 27%. Cloud infrastructure revenue $3 billion, up 52%. Cloud application revenue $3.7. That's up 12%. Cloud Fusion ERP SaaS revenue $1 billion, up 22%. NetSuite $1 billion. That's up 18%. Total revenue up 8% at $57 billion for Oracle. Let's see if we have any quotes. Okay, here we go from the CEO. Fiscal year 2025 was a very good year, but we believe fiscal year 2026 will even be better with our revenue growth rates that will be dramatically higher. We expect our total cloud growth rate, applications plus infrastructure, will increase from 24% to 40%. Cloud infrastructure growth rate is expected to increase from 50% in fiscal year 2025 to over 70% in fiscal year 2026. That is just incredible. And RPO is likely to grow more than 100% in fiscal year 2026. Oracle is well on its way to being not only the world's largest cloud application company, but also one of the world's largest cloud infrastructure companies. CTO Larry Ellison says multi-cloud database revenue from Amazon, Google, and Azure grew 115% from Q3 to Q4. We currently have 23 multi-cloud data centers live, with 47 more being built over the next 12 months. We expect triple-digit multi-cloud revenue growth to continue in fiscal year 2026. Revenue from Oracle Cloud at customer data centers grew 104% year over year. We have 29 Oracle Cloud at customer dedicated data centers live, with another 30 being built in fiscal year 2026. That's super bullish for all the data center stocks, VRT, VST, etc. Overall, Oracle Cloud infrastructure consumption revenue grew 62% in Q4. We expect OCI consumption revenue to grow even faster in fiscal year 2026. OCI revenue growth rates are skyrocketing. So is demand. Dude, this was a quarter. This was a hell of a quarter by Oracle. Oracle stock right here up about 7.5%. All the Mag 7s are pumping after hours like they should. Even Apple is getting some love. Microsoft up 0.5%. Meta's up a little bit. Googs is down. Googs is flat. Amazon's up. Nvidia's up 0.5%, 143. And then Tessie, probably not pumping because of Oracle, but Tessie, well, maybe it's pumping because that broader AI trade is just helping get up 0.47%. Right here after hours. Dude, congrats. If you own Oracle, congrats. Basent just said trade deadlines could be extended for countries negotiating in good faith. Oh, that could be pumping Tesla. That could also pump the markets. Trade deadlines could be extended for countries negotiating in good faith seeks fairness in China trade negotiations. Okay, so if these guys are going to extend past July 9th, that means two things. Number one, Number one, we have no freaking deals. We have no freaking deals. We have nothing, folks. We got nothing. But number two, it means that we're going to have more time to pause the ridiculous tariff rates that we initially imposed. And, that's a good thing for everybody because we need inflation to not be an issue. Oracle right here, up about 7% right now, after hours. Okay, shout out to Besant, bro. That was important for him to say. I think he also just commented on stablecoin legislation. So let me pull that up. And then we'll look at Chime because I did want to show you guys the Chime numbers versus SoFi numbers. Besant says, we are looking to insert fairness into China trade relationship. And then he said stablecoins could lock in dollar dominance. Guys, the dollar is down pretty aggressively. And all the big banks, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, et cetera, they put out a note 2 days ago and they said our trade is to short the dollar. I would not be surprised if we get a little bit of a rally in the dollar. Now, obviously, there's a lot of macro headwinds to not get the rally in the dollar. But if you want to be a contrarian, you would go long the dollar because pretty much everyone is going short, which is actually not the worst thing for companies like Grab and Nubank and Mercado Libre because it helps with exchange rates as we get a lower dollar. So that could be a tailwind for them. But USD right here has been under 100 pretty much for the past month. Taco deals. Yeah, that's why Trump didn't tweet it. Trump didn't tweet the extension of the deadlines because it would be him being a taco. So he had Besant say that instead, which is good. As long as we're extending it right here. AMD after hours. What is that one doing? AMD up about 0.3. AMD not moving like crazy, but that is green after hours. Dude, this was a bullish quarter. This was a super, super, super bullish quarter from Oracle. Very important one. Here's an update on this China deal as well, based on what we heard today, and then we'll keep going deeper into Oracle.
But that gets into semantics. We're on our way there. And let's get into a few of the details here. What we know is that China has agreed to grant U.S. companies export licenses for rare earths. Although, according to the Wall Street Journal, those licenses will only last for the next 6 months. I'm working on getting confirmation from that, from the White House on that. But for now, we do believe those licenses will be temporary. In exchange, if China does move to do that, the U.S. then will ease up on export controls on things like jet engines, as well as allow some student visas to move forward. In the meantime, tariff rates remain unchanged from where they've been for the last few weeks since the Geneva deal. So new tariffs this term on China are 30% by the U.S. China has a 10% tariff on U.S. goods so far this term. All of this, as you mentioned, is subject to the approval of the president. Here's the Commerce Secretary, Howard Lutnick, describing the contours of this earlier today.
They are going to approve all applications for magnets from United States companies right away. Think of that language, right away. Very much like the same day. And then as they do that, we'll take off our measures. And we're in a great place with China.
Guys, I caught up with Lutnick briefly after that interview earlier. I asked him when we might expect to see whether China approves this deal. He says within days. And I also asked him whether we should expect to see anything in writing. And he sort of sidestepped that question. He said, remember, what they were doing in London this week was simply cleaning up the Geneva deal. So this sort of roughly gets us back on track to where we were a month ago. But that's the upshot here. They weren't quite moving the ball any further forward than that. They were simply getting us back to where we were. And now we have to wait and see if and how quickly either side starts to implement this. Guys.
Important perspective, Megan. Thank you. Well, rare earth metals, as you just heard, proving to be a critical issue in talks between the U.S. and China. Pippa Stevens here.
All right. That's what we got from the administration. Again, Lutnick didn't say too much on CNBC this morning. We didn't get that many details, but it does seem like the market is happy they're making progress, but we need a lot more details in terms of what this trade deal will look like. But the point is we're talking. It's not like they're not communicating, which is at least the first step to beginning to set up the parameters and frameworks for what a real trade deal would look like. Oracle still up 7.16% after hours. GameStop tanking on that convertible note offering, down 8%. Again, 0% coupon. GameStop's going to buy Bitcoin. That's the strategy. It's just so sad what's happened to Bitcoin. Is anyone else sad? It's so sad what happened to what happened to GameStop. Because GameStop, like, you would think they would do something after 4 years of having all these people buy into the thesis, and they've done nothing. And if the last resort is to become a Bitcoin treasury, like, there's like 17 different other Bitcoin treasuries. that are a lot more effective than what GameStop's doing in terms of how they're structuring their convertible bonds. So it just seems so boring what GameStop's doing right here, but that's what you got. All right, after hours. Also, I talked about this for a little bit, but here's the actual press release. So Trump signs executive orders on drones, flying cars, and supersonics. White House Science and Technology Policy Director Michael Krotis says decades of regulatory gridlock have grounded advancements in drones, flying cars, and supersonic flight in the U.S. With today's EO, the Trump administration is giving America's innovators greater ability to test, develop, and commercialize these cutting-edge aircrafts that will reshape aviation. Very good for Joby, Archer, etc. President Trump's actions will unleash a new era of American aviation dominance, fostering innovation, driving economic growth, and protecting our national security. The executive orders will also create a pilot program testing flying cars, also known as electric vertical takeoff and landing vehicles, eVTOLs, for EMS, air taxi, cargo, and defense logistics. The eVTOL pilot program builds on the successes of President Trump's 2017 drone pilot program, highlighting how President Trump's American actions continue to put America in a position to lead. This is also really good for Anduril because Anduril has a partnership with Archer, and Anduril obviously is in that autonomous drone space. So if we're freeing up the regulatory burdens on drones and eVTOLs, those stocks definitely could get some momentum. Let's see Archer and Joby after hours. I think they kind of already pumped last week because this was rumored for Trump to be able to do this. Archer, yeah, basically flat after hours. It was up 7% of the day. And then Joby, yeah, up 2%. But it's up about 15% from last week. AMD after hours. Is AMD moving? AMD 1.3. All right, so AMD is getting a little bit of love. 1.3% right here. NVIDIA as well, up about 0.5%. Oklo still down 5%. Voyager's up 4% after hours. Carvana's flat. And then Oracle, are we still holding 7%? We are still holding 7% on the day. Oh, Red Cat. That stock should be moving. No, it was down 2%. Red Cat is a small cap, so it can move up and down on a lot of things, but definitely would help them as a drone company. Oh, well, they were $5 in May 30th. Yeah, it's been 2 weeks from 5 to 8. Not bad. So it looks like it's already kind of made a move, even if it was down 2% today. Bitcoin right here, 108. Microsoft still up 0.5% after hours. NVIDIA up 0.5%. Micron up about 1/3%. Rivian's down a little bit. S&P's up a little bit. And Oracle still holding 7.65%. Corey also up 2% currently right now after hours. Why did UNH pump? I don't know. I don't know why UNH pumped today. Up about 2%. UNH 310. It was at 301 yesterday, but UNH got some momentum as well. All right, cool. Not bad. Not bad. Good stuff. If you have Oracle, let me know if you sold it on this pump. Let me know if you bought in just now on this pump. I wonder how the market opens tomorrow. I mean, again, Oracle is not necessarily the cheapest stock, but they just showed some growth rates. And if they execute against those growth rates, 40% cloud, 100% RPO, 70% application growth. I mean, that is just like, those are the types of growth that the street's going to pay a premium to. And again, it has cascading effects across OpenAI, NVIDIA, Stargate. That entire ecosystem could not happen without Oracle. And they partner with OpenAI, NVIDIA, TSM, Cisco to make that thing happen. So all of these other companies are going to be the beneficiaries of Oracle being able to grow that much. And it just goes back to the point. This could be one of the best decades ever to be an investor in the broader equity markets. There you go. That's what we got on Oracle. Speaking of Oracle, we do have someone who is right on time, folks. He said he would be here at 4:30. He just joined backstage. He's here at 4:30, joining all the way from beautiful New York City, where you will hear many different things in the background. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Stephen Fiorillo.
What's going on, Amit?
Steve, what's up?
Not much. How are you?
I am doing very good. I just want to let you know that the article you wrote on Oracle at 1:30 is aging pretty well.
I don't even know what price it was at then, and I don't know what it's doing today.
Well, it's at almost 190 after hours, up 7%. And I just see someone clip that. Someone clip that and send it to me. That was a good one. All
right, hold on. Before we get into this, I have a question for you.
Okay, what's your question?
How many restaurants do you have saved as contacts on your phone?
How many restaurants do I have saved?
Restaurants or food places?
I don't think I have a single restaurant saved.
Are you serious?
I spend my day thinking about equities and not calling restaurants on my phone.
I have 17 different food places in my contact list.
Why? Why is it?
What do you mean why? So I don't have to look for the phone number.
The whole chat's saying 0, so you're alone on this one. Yeah, you're absolutely alone on this one.
I mean, because I don't use Grubhub or Uber Eats or anything, and I don't want to just go to Google and search. I want to go to my contact. I know what place. If it's Patsy's or Nick's Pizza or somewhere like that, and I just dial.
Look, I'm happy you do that. I just no one else does that. That's all.
You have to admit, the screenshot that I sent you was hilarious. That it was actually calling Patsy's Pizzeria.
Yeah, I'll show everybody right now. This was absolutely hilarious, bro. This guy.
Like, I legitimately have 17 places saved in my contact list. That's food.
Look, you're a man who likes his food. You're a man who likes his food. So there you go. Okay, let me read you these quotes from Oracle, and I just want to get your raw reaction on it because it is pretty incredible. So this is the paragraph. This paragraph blew me away. Fiscal year 2025 was a very good year, but we believe fiscal year 2026 will be even better as our revenue growth rates will be dramatically higher. We expect our total cloud growth, applications plus infrastructure, to increase from 24% to 40%. We expect cloud infrastructure growth to go from 50% to 70%, and RPO, remaining performance obligations, is likely to grow more than 100%. Oracle is well on its way to being not only the largest cloud application company, but also one of the world's largest cloud infrastructure companies. Stock's up about 8% right now after hours.
And if you go through the article that I wrote, I speculated on a lot of what you just said.
Can you give a little bit of an overview to people that don't know what Oracle is and your explanation for why they're getting all this demand?
So Oracle, and keep in mind, I'm actually, you know what? I may be an Oracle shareholder, I think. I was going to say I'm not, but I actually think my wife owns it. Anyway, so Oracle is a long historic tech company, and they have an entire suite of products that they bought Sun Microsystems a long time ago. Java is them. They have a lot of stuff in their suite.
A lot of database workloads, etc.
A lot of database workloads. And one of the things that they've been doing that people are overlooking is they're very big AI provider, not just in applications, but in cloud.
Right.
And they are building more data centers, arguably, than anyone else at the moment because everyone else has a lot of data centers and they're expanding. Oracle is on full build-out mode, and they did a deal with Masterson, with what is it, SoftBank, and then obviously Sam Altman with ChatGPT, and they are looking to build 100 data centers, and their cloud.
Okay, the tariffs got him, folks. The tariffs got him. There he is. He's back.
One of the biggest. What happened?
That was, I don't know. I think the tariffs got you or something. I don't know.
I don't know. Nothing happened on my end, I know of. But
maybe Patsy's was calling you and
listen, Patsy's was calling me. I may have to go get a chicken parm, but they have a huge enterprise software business. Their ERP system is one of the largest. Them, SAP, and Workday are the three big ones. Microsoft got into the game with Dynamics, but I don't believe it is anywhere near as big as Workday, SAP, or Oracle's ERP. And look, ERP suites, a lot of people know what it is because of Palantir, but Palantir's ERP suite is not a typical ERP suite.
Yeah.
A normal ERP suite is your back office services for finance and HR and payroll. And it is something that every company that has more than 30 or 40 people tends to use. Now, you have HRIS systems, which are just the HR functions / payroll, which is your Paycom, your ADP, and there's a couple other ones. And then you have ERP, which brings in accounts payable, accounts receivable, and a whole lot of finance stuff also. This has been Oracle's game for a very long time. And when you look at their revenue growth, you look at their free cash.
Dude, Patsy keeps calling him. Yeah, he definitely got a phone call right now. I would bet he's getting a phone call right now. If we're losing him right here. Yeah, he'll be back. Oracle right here up 6.27%. Still right here after hours. Let me pull up something right here. I see some hood headlines. Let me see what we got here right now. Oracle again up 57% from the April lows, up about 7%. I think we got someone said they're an Oracle employee in the chat. So congrats, your stock grants should be doing very well. Dude, I met one of these guys at the one of my friends who works at Palantir. He's been working there for a while. He showed me his restricted stock options. Dude, he's been there since the stock was $4. I was just like, it was kind of crazy to see his gains. But this is the beauty of tech companies. If you dedicate your life to a company and the stock actually takes off, it can do very well. Steve, did she call you again?
No, I have a theory that they're using freaking cell jammers because of the protests or something. Because I'm in the middle of Midtown. There is no reason I shouldn't have full service.
I think that you have a tab on Patsy's and they're calling so you can freaking pay your bills. I think that's what's happening.
I mean, if they would let me set up a house account, I would absolutely do that.
Okay. Anyway, you were saying you were talking about them in Palantir.
Really? Wow. So that's how far it got cut off. So basically, Palantir's ERP suite is much different because it's just for business, manufacturing, supply chain. Most ERP systems are back office services with HR and finance. I'm not going to bore everybody with everything else with it, but Oracle's been top of the game for a long time with that. And they have produced huge free cash flow, huge revenue, and continue to scale. And they are in a position where they were written out of this whole AI race. And they are going to be a force to be reckoned with. So I'm excited for the future with them.
So do you think the more AI workloads that we get, whether it's a ChatGPT, an XAI, and all these different startups that are growing revenue like crazy, that helps Oracle, but also the cloud providers, the hyperscalers, because of their demand growing organically, AWS and Azure at 35%, that also feeds into them because that's one thing Larry Ellison highlighted.
Absolutely.
And that is the real bull case right here.
Because you got to remember something. You have bilateral APIs from Office 365 and the Microsoft environment with Azure into the Oracle ERP and vice versa.
Right. Yeah, that's fair. That is very, very fair. So you like this name as one of the names in the AI revolution?
Yeah, I still like it. I think it's going to do really well over the next couple of years. And it's a phenomenal company. They're going to be doing a lot.
Yeah, someone right here says Oracle is also cross-cloud, so our databases can be used in all other clouds. It's very cloud agnostic from that perspective.
Yeah, you can take data from, just like you said, freaking sirens in New York City. Go figure, right?
Go figure.
This is why you can never live here.
Are you walking down the street right now or something?
No, I'm driving.
You're driving. Okay.
I'm driving.
All right, so that's what we got on Oracle. I got a bunch of other questions to ask you about, but yeah, great pick. Great call.
Oracle's a great company, and it's going to continue to do well. Meta, I'm telling you, Meta to 1,000, man. Meta to 1,000.
Okay, so what did you make of that $15 billion investment they made yesterday?
I mean, they're not playing around.
Yeah.
Zuck is not playing around. And can we talk about data for a minute? Everybody talks about YouTube and Google as the two biggest search engines, right? Everybody talks about X with all the data with posts and everything. Let's think about, if you really want to train data, who actually knows the most about everybody? Meta, because you put your whole life on Facebook and Instagram with everything you upload.
Yep. All right, not wrong. And I think the investment yesterday also showed Zucks was basically like, hey, I don't care. I have the money. I'm willing to deploy it and spend it. We can take a 49% stake just like Microsoft did, even if it's in a company that's not going to be as big as ChatGPT. And what does Scale AI do? They do data labeling. Meta's got lots of data that they would need for labeling in terms of their models.
Some would say they have the most data, if not the second most. It's them and Alphabet.
Correct. So that's definitely something very bullish for Meta.
And let's remember, Zuck has unlimited money. And he was first in the space with GPUs, and they have so many GPUs that they're going to be able to do whatever they want to do.
Yeah, I mean, he has a personal phone number. He doesn't have Patsy's on speed dial, but he does have Jensen, and he has access to as many Blackwells as he needs as well.
Yeah, Meta's been one of the most amazing companies to watch, because who would have thought that more than a third of the globe would be using their products? Who would have thought that they'd grow from a company that made a web page for 8 colleges to this conglomerate? It's incredible what he's done. He does not get enough credit. I'm sorry.
I agree. All right, let's talk about SoFi. We did get 15. So
where to close?
15:08, I think.
Did it really?
15:13 after hours. 15:06 it closed.
Oh my God.
15:17 now.
Oh my God.
So wait, when do your covered calls expire? End of June?
Friday.
Okay, I mean, like, you could roll those. Well, here's the question. I mean, you can make your decision on Friday, but would you roll them or no?
I don't think so.
Really? You're gonna let them go?
Yeah.
You know, no one's gonna care if you roll them, right? Even though you've been bearish, like no one's gonna blame you.
I don't think I don't care if anybody cares if I do or I don't. Let's just get that out there first.
I'm just saying, if they're gonna go on a little bit of a run, you know, like, where else are you gonna put the money? Is the question.
Nvidia is where I was gonna put the money.
Okay, that's fine. I get it. It's I can't even argue with that.
So here's the thing. I want to see what happens tomorrow. I don't think it's holding 15. I specifically picked 15 for this week because it hasn't been to 15 in a month and a half. And
no, it hasn't been 15 since February 12th.
All right, so 2.5 months. And you are in a position where the Fed meeting is next week. Now, maybe it's running because maybe people think that the Fed is actually going to cut because of what CPI did. I don't think the Fed's going to cut.
Well, hold on. Before you continue your point, I do have to say this to you. Chime is going public on Friday or tomorrow at an $11 billion valuation, $1.7 billion in revenue, negative 25
You said
million.
China instead of Chime.
No, I said, okay, whatever.
You said China.
Okay, I did not say China, but
China. You said China. If you roll the tape back, you said China.
Put in the chat because I did not say freaking China. Why would I say
China? You said China. You said China's going public tomorrow. You absolutely did.
Yeah, the worst thing is everyone's going to agree with you. That's the worst thing about the.
No, but you did it. I'm not looking.
No, I did it. All right, we're going to rewind let me say this, and we're going to rewind and not freaking say China. Chime is going public at 11 billion, 1.7 billion in revenue, 25 million net income. SoFi, 500 million net income, 2.7 billion revenue. Their market cap is only 16 billion.
Yep.
Does that make any sense?
No, and I don't even think Chime had a full subscription to the IPO.
So then, is this bearish Chime or is this bullish SoFi?
Dude, I don't know.
Well, that's my point. I'm just like, if Chime's going to get a freaking, who knows, $20 billion valuation, we can't say SoFi should be below 20.
Yeah, but Chime could get a valuation and sell off by half once it goes public.
That's fair. That could also happen. Yes. That's true. Okay, let me. We're gonna see if I said freaking China, bro. Not freaking say China.
Oh, you can actually rewind and say.
Yeah, I can rewind. It's on YouTube.
Okay.
And I'm gonna play this right now. It's gonna look a little meta, but let's see. Hold on. Before you continue your point, I do have to say this to you. Chime is going public on Friday or tomorrow at an $11 billion valuation, $1.7 billion in revenue, negative 25 million.
It sounded like you said China tonight.
Dude, I did not. All of you guys were lying, bro. I did not say freaking China.
It sounded like you said China.
Absolutely lying, bro. Now I just know you guys want to agree with Steve for the hell of it. Hold on. We're going to hear it again. Before you continue your point, I do have to say this to you. Chime is going public on Friday. Get out of There is no way you guys heard China. There's no way.
No, in all seriousness, if I want to troll you, I troll you about something else. I really did think that you said China, not China.
No, but no one in the chat had my back. Like literally no one here.
Because it sounded like you said China.
Because they like trolling and they wanted to continue the trolling.
No, I don't think so. I think that they heard the same thing as me.
They're putting Chinese flags in the chat. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I gotta say, your chat's the best chat on YouTube.
Guys, we just heard it twice. It did not sound like no rational person says, "Oh, that sounds like China."
Dude, it sounded like China.
Anyway,
I think we get Chinese tonight.
Oh my goodness. I hate you so much. I hate you so much. No, I just hate you. I hate like that. That was such a well-timed joke that I hate you so much for that. But it was a good one. It was a good one. Look, here's my point, Steve. If SoFi is at 16 and Chime's at 11, and let's say Chime goes to 20, there's no way SoFi should be below 20.
Well, people have been arguing this for a while. I can't tell you where it should or shouldn't trade. I'm just saying that right now the market is looking at it in a certain way where it's trading off the book, not anything else. So I don't know. But Chime going public at a higher valuation with fundamentals that paint a certain picture is definitely bullish for SoFi. There's no question about that.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree with that as well. Okay, cool. So NVIDIA, I want to give you a stat that's only going to continue to make you want to buy more NVIDIA. But ChatGPT, we got some data from them this morning. The 1 month retention on a new sign up is 90%, meaning 9 out of 10 people will come back every month when they sign up to ChatGPT. It is the largest 1 month retention since YouTube's first metrics came out. YouTube's at about 85% every month.
It's kind of incredible, right?
What implications do you think that has on the broader AI trade and NVIDIA in general?
Oh, it's huge because if you have that type of retention, that means people are using it. It's not a one and done, which means that you're going to need more chips because there's more bandwidth being used every day.
Yeah, agreed.
And we haven't even gotten to full inference or anything. So this is very bullish.
Yeah, it's very exciting. We talked about Cursor the other day. AI coding startup went from 100 million to 500 million in 5 months in ARR, all based on NVIDIA, GPUs, models, etc.
Yeah, I don't think we're bullish enough on NVIDIA. I've said that in the past. I'll say it again. We're not bullish enough. NVIDIA is, in my opinion, going to be the first $5 trillion company.
Someone said SoFi getting their run after a crappier company's IPO is kind of funny. It's kind of funny.
It's kind of hilarious. That's what it takes for them to get good for the market to do anything.
That is kind of funny. The market's like, all right, we know this is not going to make any sense, so now we're going to give SoFi a little bit of a premium here. That's hilarious, dude.
Yeah, if SoFi finishes at 20 this week, it's going to be so ridiculous.
I don't know if it's this week, but I think by the end of the year, it's not crazy. It's really not that crazy to say SoFi. I'm not saying SoFi to 30, 35. Like, I don't think 20 is that wild.
No, I'm just saying that, like, if that's what it took for SoFi to actually do something, it's such bullshit.
I mean, whatever it is, get it to 20, bro. Get it to 20. Palantir closed on the day 136, hit 139.75.
Yeah.
You gave your thoughts in the morning, but overall, what are you thinking here?
I don't know. It's stupid.
Look, I get it. It's an expensive stock. It's expensive.
It's
but
insanity.
again, when Oracle puts up those numbers, it makes you think that a lot of more growth, like 50, 60% revenue growth is coming for Palantir.
And I'm not saying it's not. I wouldn't be surprised if Palantir puts up 40 or 45% year-over-year growth on revenue. I'm not saying that they're not going to do that. And I do think that deserves a multiple. But at the same time, while the market is forward-looking, it's very hard to actually take it seriously when on a profitability basis, they're doing $500 million in net income versus companies that are doing 12 billion or 10 billion, and they have a larger valuation on market cap. It's just ridiculous in the form of thinking business. It's insane.
Yeah.
And that's part of my problem, because I get it. In 10 years from now, Palantir could be a bigger company by profit. Even though the numbers really don't support that, it could. But from an actual business standpoint, paying more money for Palantir today doing $500 million in profit versus paying 80% of that valuation for a company that's doing 11 or 12 billion in profit today is insane, because you'll get an additional 100 billion over the next 10 years from what Palantir is going to generate.
It is wild. I don't disagree. And there's no, and like, you could say Salesforce is boring or whatever, but a lot of these companies like Oracle, they're not boring by, it's like, so
No.
I agree. But for some reason, and I don't know if it's majority retail, but for some reason, people are buying this at these levels.
Yeah, because it's a pure play on AI. But you look at Cisco, you know that I've been very long on Cisco for a long time. Nobody else has been. I've probably been the only one. Look what they just put out with all their AI products.
Yeah. They're working with OpenAI. I mean, they're doing some pretty incredible stuff as well for Stargate. Now, Mizuho came out today and they said Palantir to 116, raising our target from 94. They said right here, the only part that really matters here is this also equates to a larger 6x premium to our enterprise software peer group, meaning for next year, reflective of Palantir's strong strategic positioning with large customers and potential for further accelerated growth in future years. I'm sure you think 130 is just as crazy as 116. How do you justify Wall Street saying, nope, we think it deserves the premium?
Yeah, because they're getting on the band. Well, it's pretty hard to say that you're bullish on the company, but you think it's worth 50 when it's trading at 135.
Correct.
So I think that they kind of have to say that. But at the same time, if it trades sideways for the next couple of years and grows into the valuation, that's not the worst thing in the world either.
Which is I think if it stays in a range from let's 120 to
150.
Yeah, 120 to 150, 120 to 160 over the next 4 or 5 years.
That's fine.
It's not that crazy.
Though you can't get too bent out of shape over that because you know what? All right, it's got a ridiculous multiple now, but so did Amazon and so did Tesla. And Amazon sure as hell grew into it.
Yeah,
maybe Palantir goes into it. It's really hard for me when a company like Adobe, which is not getting cannibalized by AI, I went through all that in the article I just put out, has better margins. They generate a ton more revenue and a ton more profitability, and they're worth less than half the valuation. So I think that market cap's 140.
So I agree with you, and I'm linking your article right here in the chat. You put it out this morning, but Steve, I do think that there is an argument about, hey, people might not care about Adobe as much as they care.
I get it, and that's always part of the investment case. It's just how much valuation is that really worth? Is that worth $100 billion valuation? Because people care about it and that type of thing. It's,
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm just saying from a business mindset, it does not make sense. That's all I'm saying.
Steve's Adobe article right there in the chat. You guys can check it out. Steve Tessie.
I saw it. I heard.
I mean, Elon and Trump look like they made up. Do you still think this thing has to go back to the low 200s? How are you thinking of this one?
Yeah, I can't wait for earnings. How about that? I can't wait to see what the deliveries are before earnings. And I can't wait for earnings because there is no way that they're doing anything interesting for earnings. And they are going to have the robotaxi event before earnings because they know earnings are not going to be good.
Okay, so I'm going to agree with you. Earnings are going to suck, but still, at some level, I think we have to acknowledge the market legitimately might not care.
Can you believe that Kramer is bullish Tesla now?
He's been bullish for a long time.
No, but now I was listening to CNBC today while I was going through emails, and I could not believe what I was hearing out of him.
No, he's flip-flopped on Tesla like 1 billion times over the past 10 years. Like,
it's crazy.
When Tesla's at 480, he was like, you can't, Elon's the best, be out it now. So it's like, I don't know. My point is like, Elon seems invincible to me. If he can get away with saying the president is on the Epstein files, and then the report today was that he called him last night before he put out the tweet and apologized and everything's okay. I mean, I don't know, man.
Well, that will be the greatest turnaround we've ever seen because no matter who's the president, having the president of the United States mad at you when you need regulation passed is not a good thing. So that was the right thing for shareholders for him to do.
Did you see the robotaxi video in Austin?
No.
Okay, so I know you don't believe in this thesis, but the first ever robotaxi we saw yesterday in Texas.
Yep.
Do you put any level of significance on the fact that this could be happening pretty soon?
No.
Why?
Because when you do the math like we did, it's not replacing vehicles. So now you're competing against Uber and Lyft and Yellow Cab. And to think that they're going to get the entire market is crazy. And the entire market is nowhere near what ARK is saying the market is at or what the TAM is at.
By the way, real quick, now that you mentioned that, guys, I might have the ARK people that make their valuation models on the show next week to talk about their SpaceX model, because they put out their valuation today. I'll tell you that in a second, Steve, but they might be on and they're going to talk about it. But yeah, I agree. I think Kathy's numbers are crazy. 10x in 5 years, I think it's crazy. However, from a perception,
forget the 10x. I'm talking about how much they say in revenue that robotaxi can generate. There's no way. Look, the cab market, the ride-hailing market, is, I don't remember the exact number, but it's between $300 and $400 billion right now, and it's not expected to get past $500 billion in 2029 or 2030. So, first off, they're using a TAM that's incorrect, unless they're including in the TAM replacing vehicles with it. So, let's say that they are. That means that Tesla actually has to scale this to a level where you have a massive amount of them on the road, and then you have to make it cheap enough where people are willing to get rid of their vehicles. And the model that they showed at $1 a mile does not do that. It's more expensive than having your own vehicle.
Okay, but my, and we've heard this argument, but my question is, even if you're right about that, and you know, it's not like some crazy robotaxi revenue, the stock, even with a crappy earnings, but the Morgan Stanley,
it could 2x.
I agree. Like, the stock could easily be at 600 if this is the story that the market cares about over the next couple of years.
We know that Elon can paint a very cool story about the future.
But not just him painting a story, seeing the manifestation of that story to an extent take place.
Agreed. If he can paint a really good story, and if he can show manufacturing and show that this is real and show that it's going to start generating revenue, the street's going to bid it up.
That's my point.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying that right now it doesn't look like, from a numbers basis, this thing is going to do anything interesting at earnings. And I think robotaxis are going to be a flop, personally. I think Optimus is the story that they should be focusing on.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Optimus, I mean, that is the call option on Tesla, where they announce a purchase order one day. Walmart wants 100,000 robots, and boom, I think the stock really starts to see a valuation multiple expansion that we haven't seen. But I do think Q2 is going to suck, and it wouldn't surprise me to get a dip.
Yeah. How could it be good?
Yeah.
Who's buying Teslas right now? And the Fed's not cutting rates, and they haven't cut rates.
Rango says, I feel like people are underestimating what happens to vehicle demand when your car can drive unsupervised.
No, we're not. That's the thing that saves the actual car business of Tesla. But that's going to take time to materialize. And once again, just because they may be able to put that out does not mean that your insurance policy will allow you to do that. There are things that have to happen. This is still, even if they come out next week and say, we're good on full self-driving, it's still going to take a few years to get that really out there.
Yeah, no, it's not going to happen anytime soon. By the way, I was about to say Coracle. CoreWeave up 4% after hours. They are providing computing capacity to Google for their new partnership with OpenAI. Wow.
Dude. And let's just say that that's the most bullish thing. CoreWeave doing well and CoreWeave seeing outstrip demand is the most bullish thing for the AI narrative and for the hyperscalers, because it means the hyperscalers don't have enough internal bandwidth to meet demand, and they have to outsource it.
I want you to like say that again slowly for people to understand, because that is insane. That Google's partnering with OpenAI for compute, and OpenAI is going to CoreWeave, not NVIDIA, because they can't get the demand.
Pull up
NVIDIA themselves.
In my last Alphabet article, you don't have to pull it up, but if you want to, I have that graph about how much CapEx they spend. When you look at the CapEx that Alphabet spends, and then you look at Microsoft, Meta, and Amazon, the four of them are expected to spend over $300 billion this year. I think it's $322 billion after Zuckerberg just increased his CapEx output.
Yeah.
Now, you have Alphabet, which I think that right now they're doing $60 billion or $70 billion in CapEx on the books, and they're expected to do 75 billion, something like that this year. This is a company whose cloud growth grew 29%, I believe, year over year in Q1. And this is a company who's seeing an S curve in cloud growth and is really catching up to Azure and AWS. For Alphabet to say that, and Microsoft's already said that, I believe, about CoreWeave, is the most bullish thing, because it means that demand is outstripping the capacity that they have internally to provide these compute services to their clients. So they have to go get additional bandwidth for everybody. It's the same thing if you don't have enough electricity coming in from the telephone pole in the street, you have to go get solar panels or a generator because you need more electricity. It's the same thing.
Yeah, this is like, I don't think we're
It's and it's the most bullish for NVIDIA. And it made me change my thesis. And you know that my original thing is the big thing with Chris, you and me, was when does the CapEx demand stop? And when does it just go from scaling to maintaining and then eventually depreciating? And originally my numbers were, I thought it was a 12 to 18 month cycle that we had before we met that inflection point where we go into maintaining. I'm now at like 3 to 5 years.
Yeah,
it's not longer.
We had a phone call with Chris after NVIDIA's Q2 earnings, August 2024. And Chris wasn't really feeling NVIDIA too much. And I remember on that phone, I was kind of neutral. I remember this was your point. Your point was that there is going to be way more demand than supply. And this thing is going to last for a while. And the CoreWeaves and the Nebuses, although the valuation on CoreWeave is aggressive, it's reflecting that.
Yeah, and this is something where NVIDIA is going to be the real winner in this, because AMD is not a competitor at this point. It just isn't. I'm sorry.
Well, AMD is a big event tomorrow. We can't count them out. I think they're going to show off some pretty interesting stuff, and we'll see how that plays out. But obviously,
they are a competitor in the PC market for video cards. I may actually, against better judgment, I may build a full AMD rig. Instead of going in Intel NVIDIA combination, I may go full AMD. We'll see. But because the AMD CPUs are just so much better right now than Intel's, and I just feel like if I go AMD CPU, I gotta go AMD video card. Just keep it all AMD. But it's one of those things where.
Well, but this is also why Palantir, dude, if CoreWeave is going to get this valuation because of, and CoreWeave has nothing like the margins that Palantir has, but CoreWeave is a proxy for the overall.
It's a little different. It's a little different because we know how established. Not saying Palantir isn't established, but Palantir is a software stack that companies have to use. We know that there's over demand for Azure and AWS.
No, but again, this is a very simple argument. Yeah. The reason there's all that demand is because you need AI workloads. Palantir is providing software that is going to use those models on the cloud, which will create more workloads.
The one thing we can say is more companies are going to spend more money on this. That's the one thing we can say.
Someone said, I work at Broadcom. I'm overweight NVIDIA Leap since 116 balls deep. I think I think that's fair. I think that is very, very fair. I mean, dude, these NVIDIA numbers and then this CoreWeave headline, if it's real, CoreWeave up 3%, it looks like based on this headline from Reuters about helping Google out with their compute. That's big. It's a big deal. Definitely a very, very big deal right here. Okay, cool. So that's what we have on NVIDIA and CoreWeave breaking out right here now after hours. Nebius as well, getting a little bit of love as well on the day. We talked SoFi. Oh yeah, going back to Tesla. So ultimately, you think Q2 is going to be bad enough for the street to ignore the progress of autonomy?
I mean, we saw how bad Q1 was, and I don't think Q2 got any better. Because keep in mind what happened during Q2. You had Liberation Day. You had stock market plummet, bear market territory, because S&P went down by more than 20%. I don't think people were really buying cars with that happening. And I think people were waiting, and that's why we got to see where deliveries came in. But they're not doing this whole promotion with their cars because things are good.
Yeah. Well, in the midst of everything you're saying, which is accurate, the stock still went up after Q1 by 30%. So,
of course. Why wouldn't it?
But that's my point. It's just like, Again, I don't know. I don't think it needs to. If the freaking Trump Elon thing took it down to 270 for 2 days, less than 2 days, and it's back, the numbers would have to be horrendous in Q2, and they probably will be, but I don't know.
This is my thing. Would you rather own, and I don't remember what the numbers are because I don't have it in front of me, but it's something like NVIDIA's trading at 24 times or 23 times 2027 earnings now after going up a little bit, and Tesla's trading at like 75 or 80 times.
No, it's way easier to buy NVIDIA. I agree with you.
Like, it's
way
so much easier to buy NVIDIA, especially when NVIDIA is buying back 60 to 80 billion worth of shares. They have a profit margin of, in last quarter, 42%, and their cash from operations continues to grow along with their free cash flow.
Dude,
And
NVIDIA is the easiest Mag
it's
7
the easiest Mag 7 to buy right now, and I just don't see why Tesla's getting that type of valuation when NVIDIA is not, because guess what? If the bots come, they're all going to need NVIDIA chips.
Yeah.
You're going to need more NVIDIA chips for everything.
Yeah, someone says right here, it's the definition of risk reward. I agree. Like, Tesla risk reward is not easy to magnify unless the growth ramps up like crazy, which is the risk you're taking, versus NVIDIA's risk reward, where the growth is right in front of you. And the only headwind to NVIDIA has been export controls on China, right? Like, that's,
which has been proven to be like, it's not really a risk.
it's not a risk.
It's not really a risk at this point.
Okay, so question on the China stuff. I don't know if you kept up with today, but they said we got a deal done. I don't know if the market really believes we got a deal done. Do you think we are close to a deal, or you kind of don't care?
I just don't think that they're going to bluff on that, because there's no win in bluffing, because if you bluff and nothing comes of it, it's be way worse than if you just didn't say anything.
Yeah. Agreed.
I don't know.
So Kathy thinks SpaceX by 2030 will be worth, in her base case, 2.5 trillion. It's worth
Sure, because there's only 3 companies in the world that are worth that. Sure, okay, great.
It's worth 3.5 billion right now, or 350 billion. Bear case 1.7 trillion.
And we've seen how her predictions work all the time.
And then bull case 3.1 trillion.
Yep.
I mean, if that's the case, you got to get your hands on some SpaceX stock right now.
I just don't know how ARK is still relevant. I just don't get it.
They're gonna come on the channel. I'm gonna talk to them. I'm gonna try to figure this out.
Yeah, I would love to talk with their person who did the Tesla valuations and understand the TAM and understand where they're going with this, because none of it makes sense.
Yeah.
Regardless of what Tesla's appreciation is, the numbers behind it don't make sense.
Dude, I'm looking at the model right now. You don't see the screen, but they're talking about colonizing Mars in this thing.
Right, but that could be 50 years away.
That is a hell of an argument to include in a 5-year valuation model, the potential of colonizing Mars, or at least getting Mars.
So let's think about this realistically. In order to colonize Mars, do you understand what it's going to take? It's going to take robots.
That's also true.
You're not going to have enough robots in 5 years to colonize Mars with Walmart and Amazon buying all of them.
I don't think Mars is going to happen in 5 years. I mean, maybe
25 to 50, sure, no problem.
Yeah, like I think in 10, 15 years, I think like it's at least, I think it's possibly like, but 5 years, bro, it's.
But also, what's the definition of colonize? Have one robot up there?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know.
Do we need a town? Do we need a city? Do we need a certain amount of people? Like, if it's just one robot, yeah, you can send it up right now. We colonize Mars. Great.
Yeah, and dude, the idea of getting to Mars safely and not having some random piece of space debris hitting the rocket, like there's some complications to that overall goal.
Yeah, you need infrastructure, you need this, you need that. I mean, you know.
Oracle right here, up 7% after hours.
Great company. It's a great company.
It's a great company. All right, give me the 3-minute pitch right here on Adobe. Or do you have a buy on this? Do you like it?
Yeah, I think the numbers are incredible. Huge growth ahead of it. And when you look at their creative suite. And I know that people are like, well, Dolly and these other platforms,
Canva.
that
Don't forget about Canva.
you could use.
Canva's a big one.
Marketing professionals are so ingrained, and creative departments, advertising departments are so ingrained into the Adobe suite. And Adobe is on the forefront of AI workloads for creative applications that I just think that there's going to be a much bigger TAM for them. And I don't think that the free options you're going to, for what somebody may, not you per se, but if you were going to use one of these things to make a thumbnail for a YouTube video, you don't need an Adobe suite. You can do that with one of the AI products for free. But for a marketing department, for professional stuff, I don't think people are going to use the free products. I think that they're ingrained in this. There's a reason they have such big subscription revenue. And you got to remember, when you have used a product for so long,
Patsies, dude. They keep calling this guy. He really didn't pay his bills, bro. Yeah, dude, the Mars thing is why I'm just looking at that right now in the valuation model. Mars, that's what they're factoring it. That's kind of, I was wondering how they get to 2.5 trillion, bro, from 350 billion, like 750 billion, maybe even a trillion. I could get, but 2.5 trillion. That is aggressive. Very aggressive. All right, we're gonna have to wait until his call is done with Patsy's. I've been using Adobe for the last 20 years. I use Canva every day, and I can't wait till Canva goes public. That's a stock I would really, that's like a Peter Lynch type of play buy. But I don't know if they're, Canva's not cannibalizing Adobe, but services like Canva that are using AI to make editing so much easier, I wonder if that ends up being a bear case for Adobe to an extent. But I agree with Steve. I mean, Adobe's not an expensive stock by any stretch, especially in the software space. Now, they could have been a lot more attractive if they were able to buy Figma, but the European regulator stopped that. And so now Figma is likely going to go public on its own. They were going to buy them for 20 billion. Honestly, in this market, Figma can be worth 50 billion in this market. So maybe that's going to be the best thing for Figma. But you do have Adobe right there, 412 right now, after hours. Especially if Canva is cheaper, Adobe is way too expensive for licenses. Yeah, that's why I use Canva. I think it's like $12 a month, but more professionals use Adobe. I just like, the whole point of AI is to deflate everything, like to let the most random noob when it comes to photo editing and video editing be able to prompt stuff and get the job done. And a simple user interface like a Canva maybe can easily do that versus Adobe. Okay, I think we lost him, folks. We lost him. Either he has a new phone call or Patsy is genuinely is upset about his tab that's kept open. But Adobe has earnings tomorrow. So Oracle, the story of the day, still up 6% after hours. CoreWeave, again, do that. I cannot stress how bullish that. If Google and OpenAI working together already was kind of crazy, now Google needs to go to CoreWeave because they can't fulfill the demand internally with the amount of GPUs they already have to be able to make OpenAI whole on the compute side. It is utterly insane. I mean, it's just incredible if that's what we're seeing from CoreWeave. Steve, you're back. I think you're back, but we can't hear you. He's picking up Chinese food. Yes, the Chime IPO is tomorrow. Robinhood didn't give an allocation for Chime, so I don't know if there's a ton. Did I not see? Maybe they did, but I didn't see the allocation. Yeah, he went to Mars. He's already there. Isn't it bullish for Alpha? No, it's really bullish for Google. It's bullish for the broader sector and the idea that there is this much demand at the end of the day for these AI workloads. All right, you're back.
I didn't realize that when you're in stream, that it kicks you out when you get a phone call. I was just talking, and it was dead silence. I look at my phone, and work call was coming in.
Are you sure it wasn't Patsy's?
I'm sure.
I feel like it was Patsy's.
If it was, I would have turned around.
Jose said in the chat, CoreWeave shared some tease to it during the earnings call about Google. All right, well, now we're seeing it right now.
Yeah.
we're seeing it. Cool. Okay. So I think your Adobe bull case makes sense. I don't think it's.
Yeah, Adobe's undervalued right here. There's a lot of undervalued plays. And then look at SL Green being back around 65, 66.
Yeah, that's so great. I mean, dude, this market, it feels like it wants to go higher.
It does feel like it wants to go higher.
It does not feel like it's going to sit tight at just 6,000.
Oh, why would it? We're not even at all-time highs.
We're not even at all-time highs. And Steve, I mean, Circle IPO, 300%. Freaking Voyager was up 80% today. 82%. Yeah, we will update it, guys. 82 point. At one point, it got to $73, closed at 56, IPO'd at 31. I mean, I don't know if these valuations are justified, but there is excess capital, even with restrictive rates.
Yeah,
but I think
it's starting to feel like 2021 again.
Okay, so here's why I say no. Here's why I say no. Okay, there's two reasons. Number one, I think people are bored of a lot of different investments they've had. Like if you've made good money on Palantir, right? Let's say you made $100,000 on Palantir because you bought it in 2022. You got to put that money somewhere, and maybe there's a little bit of speculation. That doesn't necessarily mean we have this massive bubble. That just means there is more capital. That's real capital that's available to deploy against different speculative names. So that's one thing. Number two, I don't think the IPO valuations are crazy. I think the byproduct of the IPO has so much hype that the valuations become crazy. And so in 2021, for example, Grab went public at 60 billion in 2021. That was crazy. But if Grab went public at 20 billion and it went up 3x in a month, which would still be crazy, that's not Grab saying we're worth 60 billion. That's just the market speculating.
Can we talk about something that your chat is gonna go crazy over?
Okay.
You were right about Apple.
There's no way you said that. There's no way you said. Did you just like, you needed to, first of all, okay, Steve, you're a content creator now. You needed to build up way more hype if you were going to drop a nuke like that. All right. You needed to build up way more hype if you were going to give me that one. All right.
No, you were right about Apple. These guys could not innovate their way out of a situation. Like, this is the worst WDC I've ever seen. If their idea is making the screen a little worse, in my opinion, with all this liquid stuff, because like really, like, you think people care about this? Like, the human eye can only recognize so much clarity and so much this. Like, stop with the freaking retina stuff. Just stop.
Wait, hold on. Are you saying this because you're just saying this, or do you actually believe that Apple's having some issues?
No, I'm worried about freaking Apple at the moment, because you know what? At some point, they should come out and they should just buy like 5 companies.
I mean, they should definitely. Well, yeah, yes, they should do something with the money other than buying back their stock.
They should buy Anthropic. They should buy Perplexity. They should buy this. They should buy that. I mean,
dude, Nadella bought 50% of OpenAI. Zuck's just bought Scale AI. Google's been making strategic investments into Apptronic and robotics. What has Apple done?
They are look, Tim Cook is too comfortable. He's too comfortable, and he's banking on the fact that his loyal base, that's a cult, is going to stay a loyal base and stay a cult and continue to buy new iPhones with minimal upgrades. And that is the problem. They're too comfortable because of how much money they generate. And while it may not be a problem today, I got news for everybody. I will probably leave the Apple ecosystem my next upgrade if the AI features on the Android platform are far superior than the iOS platform. You would
actually be willing to leave the iPhone for that?
I think I would. It depends. Look, if it makes my life easier, yes. I need efficiency.
I don't know if I would. I don't think I would ever leave Apple, though. I still don't think I would ever.
I wouldn't leave for my tablet.
Okay,
and you should absolutely leave for your computer. The fact that you got a Mac Pro for what you do is insane.
No, I love my Mac. My Mac and my iPhone, dude, that's like my bread and butter.
You should have a PC that you build yourself with a 5090 in there for your streams. Like, you should have went.
So here's the thing that pissed me off the most. So yesterday, Wall Street Journal, I can't play it because it's gonna be copyright, but they did an interview. I encourage everyone to watch it. 8 minutes. Apple executives defend Siri delays. Dude, I was listening to that. These guys are some of the most well-compensated executives in
You
Silicon
can't
Valley.
defend Siri delays. How much money does Apple have? You can throw unlimited amount of money to be first to market. Their delays is bull.
Well, that's what
And-
she said. She said, hey, you guys have a lot of cash. How did you guys not get Siri right? And these guys don't have an answer.
No, they don't have an answer. Of course not, because there is no good answer. They should go buy Anthropic and Perplexity. They should make so many features on their phone that improve people's lives. I got to tell you, I'm worried for the first time. I really am. I don't like the Android interface. I got a tablet because I needed it for a week because I needed to play with some of the things we were doing and see how it worked on the Android ecosystem versus the iOS because there were fundamental differences with Microsoft. But
Okay, but hold on. Would you sell your Apple?
no, I mean, I'm coming close.
Because Nvidia seems way more obvious than Apple right now.
Way more obvious. Way more obvious.
Wait, how long have you owned Apple?
A while.
You'd really be thinking of selling because of W.
And you know the reason why I wouldn't is because of the capital gains. But at some point, it's like, man, if you take that money and you put it in Nvidia, I just think Nvidia's got a much bigger runway right now. But at the same time, I don't think the market's going to really go 20, 30% without Apple going up also. That's the trade-off. Like, do we really think we get a real bull, like another bull run without Apple participating?
Yeah, but that bull run, what's upside? Maybe 275, you know?
Yeah, I'm not, I mean, yes. I'm not saying that it would outstrip Nvidia or Amazon, but I don't think it's going to stay flat or go down if we get a bull cycle.
Yeah,
It's a hard one because from a fundamental perspective, I don't think they can rely on their 3 billion unit base forever. I think that's a cop out, and I think that if other companies,
I was just gonna say the fact that Gene Munster likes Apple over Google to me is insane. As well,
that's insane to me.
You're right. They can't rely on their 3 billion user base. The services revenue, even though that's double digits, it's not meaningful enough to the bottom line in terms of EPS growth. Buybacks, everyone's bored of that now.
Look, I'm gonna knock their computers right now. I don't know why people use their computers. I don't understand it. Their computers are so overpriced for what you're getting inside. It does not make sense.
I like them, but I get your point.
You like them because it syncs with your ecosystem. You're familiar with it, and it gets the job done.
Yes.
And it makes your life easier.
Yes. Exactly.
Which are all valid points. I'm thinking of it from a horsepower standpoint that it's an Apple die, it's an Apple chip. The GPUs are all Apple integrated. It's all Apple. There's no customization. It is what it is. The only thing you can pick is how much RAM you want. Like, it is the most cookie cutter thing. And for a lot of this high-end stuff, I don't believe the Apple products are as good as going and getting an NVIDIA 5080 or 5090.
Yeah, but I just don't like using Windows, like the OS. And
that's fair. And that's fair. I'm just saying that I think the Apple products are too expensive for what you're getting for them.
Well, of course they're expensive, but you pay the Apple Premium because it's freaking Apple.
I get it. I get it because their packaging's amazing.
It's okay. It's not because of the packaging, bro. There's like it's a free dude. The level of my life's the ease of mobility and convenience I have with a Mac, just how sleek it is, how quick it is, how fast it is. Like it's different than opening up a Windows laptop. There's just
I use an Apple phone and an Apple iPad. I don't use an Apple computer. I'll never use an Apple computer.
Yeah, I mean, look, the computer is good enough for me to pay $4,000 for it, but at the end of the day, it's not the next leg of growth. The S curve in on the planet Earth has nothing to do with laptops, phones, or iPads. In 2010, that was the case, but now it's something called A&I, and Apple has none of that.
They have none of it. They have none of it. None of it.
That is surprising, though, that it took this WWDC for you to be like, it's an issue.
I was really hoping that they were going to come out guns blazing. I was really hoping for some big announcements. We didn't get them.
Dude, even Dan Ives said they got 9 months to get their shit together.
And he's the most bullish person on the street.
He's been trying to defend this thing for the past couple of years now, you know?
From a numbers standpoint, it still works. From a innovation standpoint, this thing is the worst out of the bunch.
Yeah. And do we really think they're going to beat Tesla when it comes to humanoid robots? Like, no, not even. Like, so it's like
I don't even want to see Apple get involved in that.
I agree. I agree.
Like, can we not learn? Can we just learn from the car bullshit that we did with Apple? Like, really, like Project Titan, get out of here. Like, they were never getting into the car business. That was a freaking somebody sold that to Cook, and I don't know why he approved that, but that was ridiculous.
What's worse is Cook didn't take the meeting with Elon in 2018, which worked out for Tesla shareholders, but he didn't even take the meeting because they felt they were so powerful that they didn't need to talk to Tesla, you know?
Which I get, but at the same time,
oh, dude, Steve Jobs would have taken that meeting. Like,
yeah, he would have, but he was innovator, whereas Jobs is not. Whereas Cook is an operator.
yeah.
Two different fundamentals.
Breaking just now, U.S. House votes to advance first phase of Elon Musk's Doge cut, slashing $9.3 billion from USAID, NPR, and PBS. All right. There you go from the House. All right, Steve, last thing from you. I want to play a little video. There's a new short by Mr. Jim Chanos.
Oh, this should be fun.
A notorious short. I'm going to play this and let you see what company he's shorting, and then I want to get your reaction. I want to get the chat's reaction as well. This is how we'll end it off for the day. I'll talk about Grab after this. When Steve's gone, I'll talk about Grab for 5 minutes, and then we'll be done for the day.
Advisory clients. We're not in the fund business anymore, but we do have some institutional clients. So we put out something early in the week on an old name of ours. So most of the people in this crowd, I suspect, would be very excited to find the next 100 bagger. So what we did was look for something that was already up 100 times and revisit it. So that company is Carvana, which has gone up 100x since its lows in late 22. And we think that it's still a misunderstood story. The street believes it's an epic turnaround. And we've been pointing out that, in fact, the company is still losing money, ex gain on sale of loans. It's selling subprime loans to both affiliates and non-affiliates and booking big gains on that.
You can stop it.
122%.
What do you think?
This one of the dumbest companies ever.
Carvana?
Is what I think. Yes. Like, I don't know how they went from death's door to what they're doing. They did a reverse split. They did this. They did that. They did a debt offering. I didn't keep up with everything that they were doing. But when I looked at it, when it was at like $5 or $7, I thought it was going out of business. Like, it's a dumbest company.
Well, I mean, you could say that, but it's went from 5 to 340. So
yeah, but didn't they do a reverse split somewhere?
No. But that factors in all that stuff. It's still
it does.
It's legit.
It's insane. I mean, one, who the hell is buying a car out of a vending machine? I mean, come on.
Apparently, people. I mean, I don't get it. I don't. Has anyone in the chat bought a car out of a vending machine? A used car or anything like that?
Like, I actually saw one of their towers driving down the highway.
So did I.
It is so like, no, I'm not doing this. Like, I'm not buying a car that's not from the fucking dealership. It's not happening. Sorry.
Yeah, most people are saying no. They still have a ton of debt. That's also correct. Okay, so but would you short it?
I don't like doing that stuff because I would get screwed because it would just keep going up.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't mind buying. Maybe I'll buy a couple puts on it.
Yeah, I don't. This one has been a mystery for a lot of people. A lot of people are saying that way overvalued. My coworker bought it. I just sold one of my cars to Carvana. That's fair.
Yeah,
I mean,
but selling your car to Carvana does not count. Like, they need inventory. So that's not what I'm saying. I am sure that the selling process for them is great because they'll pick up your car. You send them pictures. I get it. They did what Open Door was trying to do, but they actually did it right. No problem. But buying a car from Carvana, like, come on. Like, what are we doing?
yeah. I feel you. All right.
It just
that is
doesn't make sense because let's just say you're going to buy a Toyota, for argument's sake, from Carvana. We're going to go get service. You're going to go to the Toyota dealership to get service. Just buy the car from Toyota.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think there's a argument to short it. Granted, people felt that for the past 2 years, and it's just consistently beaten estimates.
Are we doing your thing tomorrow night? Did you put that together?
Oh no, dude, I'm doing so. I can text I can text you guys tonight, and we'll see. I'll put us in a group chat right now for stock draft. But I'm doing an ASTS space tonight with
No, I'm talking about tomorrow night, not tonight.
I'm making a group right now.
Because I thought the plan was Thursday night we were going to do that at like 9.
Okay, so it'll be Chris, you, Tanner, and Matt. I think we do us 5.
We're doing it. You can't do. I mean, I guess we could do 5. We need an even number of people, don't we?
No, why do we need an even number? It's 5 people. Why do we need?
All right.
It'll be 75 stocks. All 5 of us pick our top 10.
Okay.
And the chat's gonna vote on who has the best.
Well, we gotta track it over the next year. We gotta figure. We gotta get some.
No, I wasn't gonna ETF track it. Like I was just gonna say we could do that.
No, it's not hard. You just make 5 watch lists. Put 1 share in each of today's price, and we see what happens. We put it all in a spreadsheet. It'd be very easy.
Yo,
I'll make a shareable spreadsheet. I'll put everything in there.
No, okay. So on the spreadsheet, yeah, this should be easy to do. You should be able to get the weighted average of all 10 companies, equal weighted, and then come up with like A versus B versus C versus C, D versus E based on the stock prices by the end of the year, right? I feel like that's.
Yeah, no. Well, I'll build it out. I'll have of each of our lists. I'll have market cap, share price.
Yeah.
And then I'll have another column where every time we look at it, it updates for whatever it's at, and we'll do the plus minus differential, and we'll make it public.
Okay, but okay, so we have to figure out. So guys, how do we figure out what order we pick in?
That's the question: is how do we fairly make the order of how we're picking?
I have to go first because I need Palantir. So, and I have to go second because I need. If Tanner's here, Tanner's gonna take Hood. No, I need my babies with me, bro. You guys can.
So then we can do 2. We can do you versus me, and then we can do a group one with all 5.
No. I'm just kidding. We got to
do 2 of them.
No. If I don't get them, I have to get Palantir somehow. I have to get it, but well, Chris is not. You're not going to take it. Tanner's not going to.
How about this? We can also do trades. How about that? Open the floor for trades.
Ooh, that's cool. That's cool. That's a good one.
All right, let me think about it tonight, and we'll put something really cool together.
We should do alphabetical order based on our first name.
No, that's not fair. You know that's not fair.
No, we'll
because
do
because you gotta go by last name, and I would go first.
We'll do a random number. That's perfect. So we'll each pick a number between 1 and 20, and whoever's in whatever order will go first. Or no, hold on. Isn't it random name generator? They have those.
There is, but somebody's going to complain.
No, like you put in 5 names and then, wheel of names. Okay, so look, I'll do this right now. Here's the website. Yeah, this is easy. This is how we do it. So it'll be Steve, Amit, Tanner, Matt, Chris. And so click to spin. Okay. So that'll be whoever goes first.
It'll give us an order. All right, we can do that.
That's Steve. There you go. You're first. I mean, we're not doing it now, but I'm just.
Oh, yes, we are. There we go.
Just don't pick Palantir if you're first.
That's fine. Leave that order, and you can have Palantir.
Okay, cool. I know none of you guys will pick it besides Matt. Matt might pick them, but it's about today's prices. I don't know if Matt loves today's prices.
Yeah,
so.
he's not going to pick
okay,
it.
So
today's prices.
I should be able to get. And I don't think Tanner would pick Robinhood from today's price. Tanner can't pick freaking Robinhood over SoFi.
Yes, he can.
No, he could, but I don't think he will. He's going to get a lot of shit from people if he picks Robinhood over SoFi. So I think I'll be able to get 2 rounds because Chris is not going to pick Robinhood. Matt's not going to pick. You're not going to pick Robinhood.
But what if I did?
But then that would
to make you trade something for it.
Okay, so what do you love that I could pick? I will try to get NVIDIA if you take that.
I mean, all
Well,
I'm
Tanner's
saying
gonna.
is,
This is
if
no.
I,
This is gonna be fun because like
if I
it's gonna be competitive.
if I take that first and then take Hood second, in order to take whatever you wanted, because you're going to pick something good number two, and then I make you trade for that. This is going to be good.
Okay, this is gonna be fun. This will be fun. We will do this on Thursday. So I just made the group chat just now. So if everyone's free, we can do it tomorrow.
All right. It works.
All right, Steve. Thank you so much. Steve's Twitter and Seeking Alpha right here in the chat. He'll be back on Friday on the close as he usually is, and we'll talk to him then as well.
All right. Make sure you get some Chinese tonight.
You know that I did not say China. I just like.
It sounded like you did.
I did not say China. I did not say China. Anyway, Steve, thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. Later.
Have a good one. All right. Boom. Amid, how about letting the chat submit their own picks? Yeah, I think there's a way. Could we do that? I mean, no, that's not going to work, bro. Because then, no, it's going to be too complicated. Because then we're going to have to get a consensus from you guys on the companies that remain, and that's just not possible. It's going to be way too long, and not everyone's going to vote. So I think it's going to have to be limited to us 5, and eventually we'll find a different way to keep incorporating this. Yeah, a group vote makes sense, but then there's going to be tons of companies. YouTube only allows you to do 4 options. Like it's going to be very difficult to just do it from that perspective. But this will be good because it'll be 5. You'll have a lot of work to do as an audience. You're gonna have 5 ETFs essentially to manage, and you got to be objective here. I know a lot of people like Palantir, but still, you got to be objective. If I have some crappy picks with Palantir, you got to try to figure out who gets the game. The question is, what companies do we use? I don't want to use just S&P 500 because HIMS, Hood, like they're not like. We need to find a list of, I would say 100 stocks. There's 5 of us. 100 stocks is a good. But 75 makes it more competitive. So maybe it's 75. And then we'll do it from there. I just want to pick the right stocks that all of us care about, you know? And there's obviously, there's a probably core 100 that we all actually care about. All US companies. Well, no, I want to put Grab in there, right? So I want to put Mercado Libre in there. So like, it doesn't just have to be US companies. But I'll come up with a framework tonight and a mechanism to pick these companies. All right, cool. Thank you, everybody, for being on the market close today. Last thing that I said I would do, I know it took a long time to get here. I'm going to make a post about this tonight on Twitter as well. But let me finally get to this. Grab. So Peter, the CFO of Grab, he put out a LinkedIn post today. And dude, I'm just getting excited for this journey because I don't know what's going to happen, but it reminds me of Palantir and Hood, where it's like you saw updates, the stock didn't react. Palantir was in freaking Ukraine, the stock stuck at $7, but you knew something was happening. And maybe that's the case right here. So let's read what he posted today. Today, Grab successfully priced its inaugural $1.5 billion 5-year convertible note offering, our first capital market offering since our initial public listing in 2021. After completing this transaction, we now have $8.7 billion in cash. The company's market cap is $20 billion. It is almost 50% cash. We will expand our business organically. We will selectively pursue inorganic opportunities while maintaining a high bar for such transactions, aka acquisitions, and support future share repurchases if authorized by our board of directors. Now, a couple of notes on this raise. This is the largest convertible bond offering in Southeast Asia. I know a lot of people say, hey, I don't want to invest in Asian companies. I just want to stay in the United States. That's totally fine. My pushback to that is that Grab is listed on the NASDAQ and all their books are audited in the United States. So it's not a traditional Asian company. Number 2, they are doing things that are very untraditional for Southeast Asian companies. Number 1, they had a product day, with a product live stream day, like a Robinhood Gold, Palantir AIP. Most companies in that region don't do that. Number 2, this is the largest convertible bond ever in that region, which is incredible. Now, here's the big thing he said. The order book was oversubscribed multiple times shortly after the deal launched. Remember, it launched at $1.25 billion. They had to raise it to 1.5, another $250 million, because they had a order book that was driven by significant demand from a good mix of investors, including global long-onlys and hedged investors alike. This is what really told me Grab is doing this from a position of strength. You do not say, hey, credit markets, we need to raise $1.25 billion and we don't want to pay any interest and we want to give you a premium of 40%, and then get the credit markets to come back at you and say, hey, take another $250 million unless they believe, the credit markets, that Grab's going to do something pretty meaningful with the money. And we don't know what it is. Obviously, that's the multi-billion-dollar question here. But if it's a major acquisition, if it's expanding their insurance business, I mean, whatever it may be, maybe it's multiple acquisitions, then, they got almost $9 billion to do what they need to do. And then finally, the reason the volume was so big today is because they bought $274 million of their shares. So they issued a $500 million share buyback last year. They have not bought back any shares this year. Today, they bought back $274 million of those shares. So they have officially completed their $500 million share buyback, and they might initiate a new one in the future if they choose to. But that is why the volume was higher today on Grab. We see this as a reflection of the confidence our investors have in our business and the tremendous opportunity in Southeast Asia. We do not take this for granted. This is raising money from a position of strength, and I am very, very excited now about how they're doing this. I think the credit investors are like, we know that you guys are about to do something pretty incredible. Grab obviously couldn't literally tell them because that's illegal. But you read between the lines, Howard Marks is not buying Grab for freaking for a 10% move. This guy's he's a legendary investor. He's not taking a stake in a tech company, which is what Grab is. He doesn't invest in tech companies because he thinks they're going to grow EBITDA, 25% year over year. They're Grab already is expected to grow EBITDA at 50%. If they can raise that EBITDA guidance from 480 to 500, it's going to be almost 60 to 65%. And then if they can do that again in 2027, they're going to be doing almost $900 million of EBITDA with $8 billion, now $9 billion in cash. This stock is easily a $10 stock if they can get to those growth metrics. Granted, they need to execute. We got to see how this plays out. So yeah, I am, my conviction on Grab is pretty strong. Seeing that post from Peter also gave me a lot of conviction that they are raising it from a position of strength. The stock's still going to be stuck until they figure out what to do with the money. But I bought the dip yesterday, and if it stays in this range, I will continue to buy the dip because I think they are doing something with this money. So there you go. That's what we got on Grab. Yes, we have to include Rick. Okay, put in the chat, what stocks do we have to include? I'm going to write a list right now that I can't forget. I already know everyone's going to say Grindr, so don't worry. I already know. That might be my 10th pick. That might be, dude, 5 years from now, Grindr's at 24. Where's Grindr right now? Yeah, I mean, this thing's at 48 in 5 years. That's another double. Yeah, 2350, bro. I'm just saying. Might have to have it on the list. Just saying. Okay, so Rick, I'll put on the list. Oklo and IONQ. Okay, I will put the quantum names, but I don't think any of us are going to pick them. So, granted, a lot of you guys like quantum. I'm going to have to pick I got to pick one of these to get some votes. I got to pick one of them. Lily and Novo, okay. Obviously, I will get all the Max Evans, MicroStrategy, yes. Lemonade, Oscar. Given the four guys that are going to be doing this with me, I don't think any of them are going to pick some of these speculative names, but I still will put them on the list. Still. Archer, okay. Nebius, Tesla obviously will have that. Oracle will have that. Uber, Lyft will have that. Brock, I'll have all the semis. Don't worry, I'll have that. VG and Next, okay, we'll have that. CRM, Steve will probably pick CRM and Adobe. Dude, no one's gonna pick Navitas. I have to keep the list condensed because if there's like 300 companies, there's not going to be any pressure for people to like have to make hard choices. So I still have to be somewhat reasonable. Like none of us are going to pick freaking Navitas. I know that. Hims. But if we need more, then I'll add some of the other names there. SMCI, yeah, in the semis they'll do that. Okay, no one's going to pick Circle. Farcoin should definitely be on the list. CEG, that's fair. Can put that on the list. Nike. No, we have to put SoFi on the list. We're talking about no SoFi. We have to put SoFi there. It can't just be all stocks. That's not going to be fun. If it's just all public companies, the goal is by round 8 to 10, round 7 to 10, there should be 7 times 5, 35 companies off the list. So if we're doing 75, then that means by round 7, there should be 50% of the companies gone, basically, which makes it hard to make those final choices, right? That's what's going to make it fun versus just having an unlimited amount of companies. Yes, we will have Google. We'll have Google there. Oh, that's a good one. The 11th one should be a private company. It should be 10 public and then 1 private, right? Maybe we do that as well. Rule maximum 1 to 2 from each sector. Okay, so I don't know if we'll be able to do that because semis have way more companies. Like I can't just pick NVIDIA and AMD, right, from the semiconductor. We got to have SMCI and Micron and that stuff. But there's some sectors that, we don't need that many of. Do it all public. Yeah, we could keep it all public too. Coinbase will have that there. Yeah, we'll do a random generator to see the order because it's going to be the same order every time. So it'll go in that order once we pick it. We can't put crypto. That's going to make it a little unfair as well. It's got to be public companies, but all the crypto proxies will have. ELF. Okay, we'll have ELF. I don't think anyone's going to pick Applied Digital, but we'll see at the end if there's space for some of that as well. Nubank. I got to put Nubank for Tanner. I know he'll take that. CrowdStrike. That's a good one. Cheesecake. I don't know if anyone's going to pick that, but we could have that there. Okay, I think I have enough names. That plus all the Max 7 and all the semis and like the popular ones. HIMS, obviously, we'll have that. I think this will be good. Do these guys text me back? Tanner said, how are the 75 names chosen? I'll make a list. I'm consulting with the chat right now. Tanner is so anal about shit, bro. He's like, well, how are the 75 names? Dude, just say yes. Just say you're going to do it. He's like, well, how are the names chosen? It's like, this guy, bro. He's like, well, what's the methodology for picking the names? I'm like, dude, we'll figure it out. Just say yes. Just make sure you're there. He's such a nerd about this stuff, dude. I love it, but he's such a nerd about this stuff. Let's see. Hopefully we can do it tomorrow. It'll be fun. Shopify, yeah, we got to put Shopify. Oh, I got to do that for Tanner. I'm going to pick Shopify just to mess with Tanner. Consulting, where do we send our invoices? That's a good question. AK Media needs to get an invoice. Celsius, okay. How many do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have exactly 30. Okay, so I have 30, and then I put the Mag 7, so let's just add 7. And then semis. Tanner says in all caps, bro, I am down. Was he listening to me? Tanner, are you in the chat? You listening? Now he sounds excited. He said chill. Yeah, he's definitely in the chat listening. I'm joking, Tanner, but still, that was hilarious. It's like, how are the 75 names chosen? We're definitely gonna have SoFi and Nubank and Shopify. We will have Tanner's picks and NVIDIA. I don't know if you'll get NVIDIA though, but all right. Yeah, we'll have these names. I love Tanner, bro. Tanner's great. Tanner is genuinely one of my friends in the content creation game. Like, we actually talk strategy and content. I don't know if you guys have noticed. Oh, there he is. There's the. First of all, let me give a shout out to Tanner's Twitter. And the reason I want to give him the shout out, not only because he's one of my good friends, is because he's finally freaking posting on this platform. And I've been asking him all year because I love him. And I'm like, Tanner, you got to do it. You got to post. This is like, everyone who cares about finance is on this platform, and he's growing like crazy. He's posting like multiple times a day, which is amazing. He got reposted by Tom Lee the other day, which is awesome. You never know who sees your posts. That algorithm is pretty damn incredible. Elon freed up the platform, and now anyone can access it. There's his Twitter right there in the chat. You can follow him here. And, he's embracing X a lot more. So, yeah, Tanner is, he's one of the real genuine friends I have in this game, because, there's not a lot of people that understand kind of, like the challenges of being a content creator. So really happy that he is there doing it with me. Amit, I think Tanner is taken. All right. Well, regardless, Tanner said, what did he say yesterday? He said something. I commented on one of his posts yesterday. I said, regardless, you're going to have a kid one day that is going to have a Robinhood account. He said, my future children won't even have to take a driver's test. That's crazy. And I was like, yeah, but your future children will have $1,000 in Robinhood. So that's only if Robinhood gets to Canada and Canada approves the $1,000, but still. Oh, there we go. We got the wedding invite, folks. There you go. You're invited to my wedding when it happens. Love you too, brother. I love it. Love you, Tanner. All right, so I'll be at the wedding. I'm gonna have to give a speech at the wedding, bro. Like, I got to give a speech at the wedding. I'm gonna take that mic, and I'm gonna have to talk for a little bit. So there you go. I'll put Bob on the list. I have Oklo. All right, so I think I have a good list. I think I have a good list. We're not putting the S&P on the list, bro. The whole point is to beat the S&P. We're not putting the freaking S&P on the list. We could put some ETFs, but are you gonna stream during the wedding? I mean, it would be kind of fun to stream during the wedding. That would be kind of fun. Tempest, I can put Tempest in there. What other companies is Matt like? Oh, Rocket Lab. I got to put Rocket Lab there. Got to put ASTS for Chris. Yeah, we got a good list. All right, cool. Good stuff. I got to get out of here. Daily recap will be out in a couple hours. And then 9 p.m. Eastern, we will have the ASTS stream. ASTS. And we will deep dive. I kind of like this idea. I think now I'm going to try to commit to 2 times a month. So every other week, we pick a new stock. There's a lot of people on X that I can easily ask to sit down for an hour and have a discussion. We'll call it deep dives or whatever. We can come up with a name for the series. Yeah, we'll put Dutch Bros there as well. And we'll do a deep dive every Thursday night or every Wednesday night. And we'll try to, like, Oscar, Lemonade, all these names that I honestly don't have that much time to look at. I think that 1 hour can be an introductory level of DD. And then we can do ASTS tonight. And, because, dude, what I'm realizing is retail is finding a lot of, like, I'm getting DMs every day of like, yo, what do you think about Lemonade? What do you think about this? What do you think about that? And it's like, there's a lot of people that are just seeing, which means the overall self-directed investing marketplace is growing. And that's bullish for Robinhood, but that just means more people are doing their own due diligence. So hopefully it's a good idea over the long term as well. No one's gonna do Grinder with me no one's gonna do it with me. I need freaking there's no community. That's the problem. Dude, this is why I should have bought this stock heavy in 12. Dude, again, you get a lot of credibility when you are bullish on a name and no one cares about it, and then the name actually moves up. Like, this is the name of the game in stock picking, right? Like, if you are bullish when if you can see the gem in the, what is it? The needle in the haystack in the needle. What was it? The needle in the haystack. But what is the one I used to do? We haven't used this one in a while. The hay in the needle stack, right? If you can see the hay in the needle stack, OGs know what I'm talking about. You get more credit. And I really wish I had publicized, like, hey, this is like a thesis, but I never took it seriously enough, which is why I don't deserve the credit. But still, no one else was talking about it. So there's no community on this one, but still. Yeah, we'll put Elf. We'll put Elf in there as well. We'll do Elf. Enphase. I don't know if anyone's going to pick Enphase, but we can put it up there. The diamond in the rough. Yes, exactly. The diamond in the rough. That's the dude, how could I not think of that? The diamond in the rough. The hidden gem. I said hidden gem. Yes, Oracle will be there. Oracle will be there for sure. So we'll definitely have that. Who goes first in the draft? Okay, so Tanner, we're gonna use this freaking website. Where is the website? I think I exited out, but it's a wheel spinning name website. So we'll do it live and we'll see who goes first, and that'll be the order for the 10 rounds in the draft. Each of us will have 10 picks out of 75 names, so 50 picks in total, 10 ETFs. And then Steve's going to track it on Excel, equal weighted across every single stock, and we'll see which one does the best in a year. And we'll keep doing it. Is Tanner getting a live stream in 5 minutes? Is Tanner doing a live stream? Let me see. Is Tanner in our stream right before he goes live? If so, I will link his live. And then you guys can all... Yeah, he's doing it. All right, cool. There you go. All right, so Tanner's live. He'll be live with a couple guests on his channel. There it is right there in the chat. From one live stream to the next, I will be live again at 9 p.m. And you guys can check out Tanner right here in about 5 minutes. All right, cool. There we go. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate you all. We'll be back at 9 p.m. tonight for ASTS. We will do these deep dives hopefully twice a month at least. And and then we will keep going from there. You need some DGen picks. All right, we'll have some DGen picks as well. We'll put some DGen picks in the list as well. All right, love it. Thank you, everybody. Go check out Tanner. I will see you guys later on the ASTS stream. Bye, everybody. Have a good one.